What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mal, here today with our first of hopefully many uh new podcast called Behind the Panels, basically showcasing creators, man, whether you creating comic books, games, manga, anything. You creating, you got a project out, you know what I'm saying? We want to talk with you, you know what I'm saying? We'll promote your project and, just hang out for a little bit and just shoot the shit, you know what I'm saying? And, like I said, today's the first episode, hopefully, of many, you know what I mean? But on today's episode, we got some great creators on here. Big shout out to Kevin Davis. We talking about his Kickstarter he got going on for Hallowfien that's launching real soon. And from what I've seen so far, it seems fire. We got the team at Boxfort Comics. Definitely some great dudes over there. Talking about their project, Hiraeth. They're on issue number 3. Artwork looks amazing on that. And we also got Low from Dark City Comics talking about his relaunch of Epic, and that seems epic. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, thank y'all for joining us today. And, once again, it's your boy Mal. You could check out the site, villainarchives.com. Because yeah, I'm also a creator as well. You already know. We got some dope comics on there. Chaos Theory. The next issue is launching real soon. And we got some other projects in the work. But on that note, you know what I'm saying? Let's get cracking on today's episode. Welcome, everybody. I just want to introduce today Kevin Davis. He's an independent author and comic creator. We met on Facebook. He was telling me he got a new Kickstarter campaign. It's for Hallowfien #1, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, so we're gonna get into that in a minute, but before we get down to the nitty gritty, man, let's tell us about yourself. Let's get to know who you are as a creator.
Well, first, my name is Kevin Davis. I am the founder and CEO of Kevisite Global, which is my publishing company.
Hmm.
I've been in comics for this year as of May. As we get to May, it'll be my four years in comics
Hmm.
now.
Okay.
But I've been an independent author since about 2020. I started reading comics around 2020. I did not grow up on comics at all,
Okay.
like at
All right.
all. Crazy, right?
No, I feel you.
Um,
I feel you. I feel you. I
but
was
I
I
didn't.
was the same way a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've always watched movies like the Marvel, DC movies, and I even Hellboy. That I didn't know that was a comic either.
Hmm.
Right? I've always been a nerd my entire life. Of course, mean, when I was young, I was embarrassed about it because I didn't think it was cool because I was trying to be
Hmm.
around people, trying to be cool and stuff. Until I got to the point, I was like, why am I trying to impress anybody when I could just be me, for God's sakes, man? Like
Yeah,
for real.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, but I'm a creator, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been told I'm a go-giver.
Hmm.
I've been yelled at for not sleeping because
Yeah, the grind don't
I,
stop, man. Grind
yeah,
does
yeah,
not
the
stop.
grind does not stop. My mind goes a million miles per hour every hour,
Hmm.
man. Because I've been outside of publishing. I'm working on my own clothing brand coming
Nice.
soon.
Okay.
I have my own shoes. That's actually out on my website, kevisite.com. My shoes are out. I got some merchandise based on my comics. That's also my website right now. But
Nice.
my
So
clothing
you just
brand,
hustling. Just hustling.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
But
That's
my
it.
clothing brand is gonna be a completely different thing because it's gonna be like
Hmm.
more of a mental health type of clothing brand with
Yeah,
whole
that's what's
different
up.
type of designs. Like it's gonna be like some horror anime with the messages of
Okay.
mental health. So yeah, I got that in the works. I'm going as crazy as I'm working on my own drink company too down the road.
Yo,
So
hey, do it, man. It's all about hustling, man. We got none but
oh yeah,
time on
brother.
this planet, man. Let's get it in. You know what I'm
Oh yeah,
saying? Let's
brother.
take them creative juices and let's get going. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes, sir.
touching back like what you said, you weren't into comics really growing up. To me,
Mm.
when I was younger, I did. I read comics. I had a bunch of comics when I was little, but once I was a teenager, I grew up in Brooklyn. Last thing we was doing was reading comics. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, my focus was elsewhere. It's like I got a little bit older, and I sat back down with them, and then I was like, oh man, like I love it. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah,
You know what
dude.
I'm saying?
Man,
But enough
man,
about me.
I started comics in 2020 when I
Okay,
because
so
I
like
was on
during COVID.
yeah, literally covered on TikTok. I learned about Marvel and DC comics.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like bought like their digital copy because I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it, so I'm not gonna buy no physicals right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so of course I had to get my Spider-Man, my Blade,
Mm-hmm.
Ghost Rider, Black Panther, Thor,
Okay.
Captain America.
Nice.
And then I learned about independent comics like Black
Mm-hmm.
Sands Entertainment, Ace Blade Comics.
Mm-hmm.
I even, I'm not sure Dark Horse is even considered independent, but I learned that because I'm a big fan of Hellboy. I learned they publish Hellboy comics,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
I had to cop those Hellboy comics, brother.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, everything in my shelf is independent comics physical. I'm like I don't
Okay.
even care about the big two. I don't
Hmm.
like I really don't
Yeah.
care.
To
I'm
me,
independent.
everything is whatever with those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
just
yeah.
flood the market. I love just like picking up on indie stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Heck
Like
yes, dude.
I feel like some of the best stories you're gonna find are on the indie scene. For real.
Agreed,
For
agreed.
real. For
But I
real,
even
you
heard, I even learned that Sonic it has comic books too. So I'm a huge Sonic fan as well. So
know?
I have to get those, man.
Okay. All
So
right.
yeah,
So when did you realize you wanted to do more than just read comics and you wanted to put those thoughts that you had right on the paper?
when I started actually reading them, I'll be honest.
Okay. Okay.
But I started out actually writing novels first,
Okay.
trying to hone my craft and
Hmm.
see what I could what I could do
Yeah,
basically.
what works? Yeah.
And turns out, and I actually found out my mother's a writer too, so it turns out it's in my blood.
Oh, that's what's
And
up.
she let me read her murder mystery book before it's published. And when I tell
Okay.
you I could not put that book down for the life of me, brother,
Oh yeah.
I was pissed when people called my name while I'm reading this freaking book, bro.
You gotta send me the link.
But oh, it's not. She's rehashing it right now, so I can't
Okay.
say anything yet. But I'll be publishing her when she's ready.
Okay.
So like, but yeah, and I got into studying how to write comics because I got curious. I'm like, how do they create these things?
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
what goes into this? And so I got curious. I started researching. I even found comic writers and creators around, asking questions like, how
Yeah,
do you
just
write
picking a
these
brain.
books? Like, how the heck do you
Yeah.
get into this? I
Yeah.
got some advice, and at first I was going to hire like a comic writer to write a story that I want to do.
Hmm.
But then I was like, you know what? You might not be able to understand where my mind is going.
Yeah.
Because I've
Hmm.
been told I have a crazy imagination, and my artists always tell me, "Say, dude, you have a crazy, scary mind." When they read my
Okay.
scripts, and so I was like, I guess I'm a control freak, but I because I know what I want, and I'm not sure
Exactly.
if someone can actually translate what I want, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's
Uh,
this, you know what I'm saying? You gotta make sure if somebody's gonna do that work for you, it's gotta be exactly how you envision it.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like you don't want to cut no corners because then it may just
Mhm.
not hit the way you want it to hit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly,
the
exactly.
spices
Yeah.
gotta be just right. You know what I
Yes,
mean? You
sir.
can't, you know, you gotta make sure you
Heck
got a
yeah,
little bit of
dude.
this, a
Oh
little
my
bit of
God.
that. Yeah,
Man,
absolutely.
I got I tell everybody this. I mean, I got tired with the Hollywood rehashes and like the
Oh yeah.
reboots and like
Hmm.
it felt like no originality, no
No,
creativity.
no,
And
absolutely
I got
not.
to a point where I was like, why am I waiting on somebody else to do a story that I want to see when I can just freaking do it myself? I'm like, yes, it's gonna take
Exactly.
time and money, but I'd rather take time and money and invest into my own self and
Hmm.
wait on somebody else to do it. And
Yeah.
so to like good 2 years studying how to write scripts and everything. And I wrote my first script, my first comic, Arcfire, in 2023, and
Okay.
got that sucker into production. This is actually the poster of it right here.
Okay. That's what's up.
My friend I painted the cover for of issue one,
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's what's
and
up.
she gave it to me as a gift. And dude, and I've been grinding since then on comics as I love storytelling and I just want
Hmm.
to my inspiration I want to be like inspiration to people. Like I want to get people back to reading, like to grow
Yeah.
their imagination. I'm like from kids to adults to everybody. Just if you just need a moment to escape the world for a minute,
Yeah, I
that's
feel like
really my goal.
we're too stuck on the phones and everything else. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. We just sometimes I feel like we just need to take a step back and just whether it's read a comic book, read a novel, read something. Just
exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Give your eyes a break and let
Oh
your
yeah.
mind open up a little bit. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
So when you created your first comic, like how was that like? Like, how was that experience?
So man, it was a hassle because trying to find the right artist
Mm-hmm.
and learning the pricing of the artist's work. And
Yeah.
then you have to be weary of scam artists.
Oh
So
yeah. Mhm.
there's
My
so
first
many of them. It's
comic.
ridiculous. Oh my God.
Yep, my first comic.
Um,
I got, I got scammed by some artists. You know what I'm
uh,
saying? He
yeah,
literally pushed me back like a year and some change, and like
yeah, it's crazy.
$500. Yeah.
Uh, but
You
yeah,
know,
it's
but you
crazy,
know,
man.
it's a lesson well learned. You know what I mean?
Facts, facts. That's
You
why I'm
know.
very picky when
Hmm.
someone try to reach out to me. I look at their profile first and everything. I was like, nah, I'm not interested. I know you finna, if I accept your friend request, you're gonna try to offer me like a 3D printing something I don't care about or some random stuff. But when I first started writing Arcfire, I
Hmm.
went through so many hashes of it. Because well, it went through so many title changes first because I
Hmm.
don't know what the heck I wanted to call it. And it was like I don't know, it was one time I was watching something on TV. It might have been Stranger Things. It probably
Hmm.
was. Yeah, I think it was like Stranger Things season four because season four was 4 years ago now. And I was it was on my TV. I got inspired and started getting visuals of my character in my head and like the story I want to tell.
Hmm.
And then I'm also a big Zack Snyder fan because
Okay.
he's a great visual
Yeah.
um
Hmm.
vi
Oh yeah.
visual cinematographer. If that's I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's what it's called. Um, and so I'm like, okay, I'm kind of getting the flow of what I want to
Hmm.
do. But I was like, but what's the title and what's the character name? And then right out the blue, I randomly said I don't know how, I said Arc Fire. It's like,
Okay.
no, I said Arc. I was like, dude, I'm like, oh, that's fire. I was like, wait, Arc
Yeah. Sometimes it
Fire.
comes out of nowhere. Sometimes it comes out of nowhere.
It's like Arc Fire. And
Hmm.
then I wrote it out. At first, I spelled it like Arkfire. Then now I want to do something different. So I did
Hmm.
Arkfyre.
Okay. Okay.
And that's how I was like,
Hmm.
Arc Fire. I was like,
Yeah.
interesting.
Hmm.
And I was like, then I learned about different art styles. I was like, some manga style, American style, Russian
Hmm.
style. I was like, then I kept singing the character in my head. I was like, he might look good as a good manga Western style a bit. I was like,
Yeah.
huh.
That's what's up.
So, and then my artist Ralphie, he found me on Facebook, and because I made a post looking for an artist, and he messaged
Hmm.
me, and his artwork was out, he
Hmm.
top tier,
Phenomenal. Okay.
top freaking tier. He gave me his pricing. I was like, really? You charge that much? Then I found out he lives in the Philippines. I was like,
Okay.
y'all have a good living out there. I was like,
Hmm.
interesting. I was like, because his art style is, oh my
Hmm.
God.
Yeah.
But the way I do it, I test to see if I can be friends with you before I can even think about like a business partnership.
Yeah.
And we became friends instantly. He is
Hmm.
such a
Yeah. You
nerd
want to
like
build that
me.
rapport. Hmm.
Exactly. And he's such a nerd, and dude, and now we still going. We got issue two finna go to print now. I'm writing I'm writing issue three and four. I already got the issue
Hmm.
three and four covers done by Rafi.
Nice.
So
That's
dude,
what's up.
it's
That's
been
what's up.
it's fun. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
having
a
a blast, man.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
When I first
man,
started, it was it was a learning curve. I
oh
definitely
yeah,
hit a few walls, but once that train started moving, man, it wasn't stopping me.
yes
It wasn't
sir.
stopping me. I was cooking up project after project, covers, variant
Oh
covers, man.
yeah, oh yeah.
I was pushing this. You thought I was slanging. That's how I was. But
But it'd
you
be
did
funny if
mention you
people.
have that Kickstarter coming out. I was looking at it. The pages you put up look fire. Tell me a little about that. Tell me about that story.
So Hallowfien actually started out as a joke, bro.
Okay.
It's crazy. I was working with this independent film studio a couple years ago because I did a voice acting thing for one of the movies,
Okay.
and a friend of mine I met through the studio named Evan.
Hmm.
He's been an inspiring writer, and he connected with me. He always tells me that how I inspired him to write and get out his comfort zone.
Hmm.
and we both love clowns.
Oh.
I was like, we both love clowns and horror movies. And
Hmm.
we were just talking, joking about. I was like, and it was like, dude, what if we did like a clown story where it's like, let's say two clown brothers, twin brothers, that's like going around social media killing people,
Okay. Okay.
and we call them the duplicate killers. I was like, I'm like, that would be funny as hell. And then of course my brain started to click. I was like, fuck.
Yo, that's how it happens, man. So it could be a little joke, a little something, and you're like, wait a minute, that's
Right,
I think I could kind of run
right.
with this. And let me see what I can do with this. And next thing you know,
Oh
the
yeah,
pens start going and
man.
you already got like a whole story arc framed out. You know what I
But
mean?
yeah, and at first I started writing as a novel, but then I got into comic. I was like, I actually want to do this a comic,
Yeah.
and I named it Hallowfien instead of Duplicate Killer. So he has a
Hmm.
version called Duplicate Killer. That's a novel. So he wrote a novel version.
Okay.
That
Nice.
I'm actually published. I actually published his first book, called Untold Stories of Officer Bob, which is out on Amazon now and Barnes and
Hmm.
Noble and stuff.
Nice.
So I'm currently editing his Duplicate Killer book now
Nice.
and his other book. So I'm editing his books, and I'm like, because when I'm like, I'm doing a comic version called Hallowfien, and he asked me, he's like, can I do the novel version? It's called a Duplicate Killer. I was like, I don't care, shit. It's both our ideas. I was like, why not? And so in Hallowfien, now to get back to your question, to Hallowfien, the story is it takes place years later. It's like years later. The
Uh,
twin brothers are Ethan and Evan. They are supposedly dead after years of killing people, and but for some reason there's two new clowns in the mix
okay.
in Halloween, and so you like people like and like the characters are one of them like, wait, how are there two clowns when Ethan and Evan died years ago?
Yeah.
And they're doing it, and these two clowns doing the exact same thing Ethan and Evan did, going around social media, picking their that's random people like as their victim. But this two clowns actually picked a group of friends for some reason. So they're actually turning the stakes up. So
Okay.
now you question like, okay, why are they talking a group of friends? They're still killing other people, but they keep coming back to this specific group.
Hmm.
So you're like, I want when you're reading out, I want people to act and say, okay, why this group? Can we trust any of these people in this group?
Hmm.
And how are they connected to the original duplicate killers?
Okay. All right.
So and so I call it's a psychological thriller, horror story. It will have, I will not to spoil much, but it will have some supernatural element to it. I'll say that.
Okay. All right.
But and I'll say this, and this Kickstarter is part one of a two-part saga because, dude, I don't want to do too much with this story
I
because
was
this
just
is
about to
one,
ask you how
yeah,
far you were gonna go with the story because I did notice on a Kickstarter it said issue one of two, so I was like, "Is this gonna
yeah.
be like a two
I'm only
story?"
doing a two-parter with this
Okay.
story because, like, people, what people say today, I don't want to milk the franchise.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Uh, um,
Hey, but ain't
but
nothing
this is
wrong
like
with
one of the
making
most
some money
toughest.
off that milk.
Yeah, right. And like this is one of the toughest stories I have
Hmm.
ever been writing.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm going to cut it at two parts because I'm like, I don't because one, this is crazy how the hell this just came about because it was a joke at first.
Okay.
Uh, but I don't want to do too much with it. It's just a simple two-part shot. So this could start as part one, then part two will come down the road, probably 2027 because I have other projects in between.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is part one or two, and I'm
All
going to
right.
keep it right there.
That's what's up.
But if
Are you gonna continue
um,
with like the novel portion of it, or just gonna?
that's up to Evan if he wants to do more
Yeah.
novels. I'll give that to him. I'll give it back to him. I'm like, you can continue the universe. I'm done.
Mhm.
I was like, I'm done with this one because
Okay.
but yeah,
All
but yeah,
right. All right. So out of all your projects you've created so far, whether novels or comics, which is your
mm-hmm.
favorite? Like which resonates the most with you? Like you call it's my baby right here.
Arcfire because it's my
Okay.
beginning.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right. That's what's up. That's what's up.
yeah,
All
because
right.
Arcfire is also the kind of my character is actually based on me because his story,
Mm-hmm.
the way the way the story starts, he wakes up in a cocoon egg in a science lab. But when he gets out, he has no memory of who he is or where he's from. So he's on this journey of self-discovery, and he has this cosmic power within him
Mm-hmm.
that he's learning to control and like learning where it's from. And so I said this story is kind of like my character's a bit of me because growing up I didn't know who the hell I was, and I was
Yeah.
going through my self-discovery and
Okay.
like going through like my mental
Mm-hmm.
journey, like
Yeah.
I'm like ooh, excuse me, who am I? What's my purpose on this earth? I'm like, why did God put me here and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
That's
And
what's up.
so now he's going the path of I'm like, is he good? Is he bad? Is he in between? Is he whatever? Because
Yeah.
there's villains coming after him for his power for some odd reason. We have three witches I call the Owen witches. They're kind of like my charm witches because I got inspired by Charm. I love the Charm series.
Okay.
And then there's a bigger villain coming down the road in the series. That's gonna bring it full circle with
Mm-hmm.
everything to showcase who Arcfire truly is. And with this series, I think I have about like 15, maybe 20 issues in my head. I'm thinking about doing, and then for the main Arcfire series, like about Arcfire.
Okay.
And then I'm planning spin-offs of Arcfire of like the supporting characters, like to
All
explore
right.
their stories and like 'cause I
Okay.
want
So
every
you putting in work on this story. Yeah.
I'm world building. Um,
Nice. Nice. Nice.
so I was like, because I want every character to feel important. I don't want to just have a
Mm-hmm.
character just to be there for no freaking reason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was actually asked before, I said, is if my comics I bring out are they connected somehow? Like
Mm-hmm.
even though they're horror fan, I was like,
Yeah.
yes. I'm like, yeah, they're in the same. It's the Kevin Side universe. Yes, it's horror, but
Okay.
it's the same. But they are connected. And down the road, I will have a crossover one shot book will show you how my stories
Yeah.
are connected. I
Okay.
was like, yes. I'm like, yes. Arcfire, Hallowfien is connected, but you don't have to read you don't have to read them. You don't have to read Arcfire to understand
It's
Halloween because they're
separate
still,
stories on
yeah,
their own.
they're still completely different stories.
That's what's
But
up.
yes,
That's
they
what's
are
up.
connected. You can go either order. I'm like, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
Marvel. You don't have to watch this to see this and yada
Yeah.
yada.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like, let's
Mm-hmm.
start anywhere you want to start. I don't care.
And eventually y'all meet up in the middle and then y'all go y'all certain ways.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what's
Exactly.
up, man.
I was
That's
like,
what's up.
but yeah, down the road, I do have a graphic novel in mind of a one shot to explain. I was like, oh, this is the Kevin Side universe. This is how we created. This is the mythology of why these are connected or how these are connected. So,
Yeah.
but I am so excited for that one.
Yeah, that's it sounds
I've already
dope. Like
started
I
to
can't
outline.
wait.
I'm actually starting to outline it already because I already know what I want
Nice.
to do.
Nice.
Uh,
Nice.
but yeah.
That actually brings me on to my next question. As a creator, because I want this little podcast to be more than just, talking about, comics and things like that. I
Mm,
also I want creators to kind of walk away with something from here, whether it's, how writing skills are, whatever it is. What
mm.
is as you're building this world, as you just mentioned, what is your creative process in doing it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know we all got our certain ways, our certain things. Like, what's yours? What's your creative process in putting this together?
And the creative process. That's a good question. So one of my creative process when I'm writing, sometimes I kind of put like in the background no I put like background noise like on my TV or
Hmm.
like YouTube.
Yeah.
It depends on what story I'm writing. Like for example, Halloween, I put on like the Halloween theme song in my background to get myself in the
Hmm.
mood and to get in the process of I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
get
It's
into the
getting in that
mindset.
zone.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. And then like Arcfire, I got the Stranger Things beat going,
Yeah.
mixed with like the Man of Steel score,
Uh-huh.
and even the Charm theme song, because that was like my inspirations behind
Yeah.
Arcfire. And so my creative process is one, just letting it, not to overthink it, just let it flow.
Hmm.
Like put like I don't believe in like writer's block in a way.
Hmm.
I think it's just people. I talked to this. I thought I should talk to a friend about this recently, a couple of days ago on we was live. That we both was like we think people use writer's block as an excuse. That's like um not necessarily lazy. We just think that just holding it as an excuse not to get the work done.
Yeah.
And so you don't have a writer's block. You just needs to get out that funk a bit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, I feel you
Like,
100%. I
yeah, I was like, you're
agree
not. I'm like, you're not
100%.
blocked. I'm like,
Hmm.
well, yes, we know life kicks ass. Life kicks
Yeah,
our ass all the time, but you're not
every day.
blocked. You just, I'm like, you just need to stop. Don't allow that funk to
Hmm.
derail your creativity.
Yeah,
Something like, because something like also the reason you say you have a block is because you're overthinking what you're doing.
yeah. Sometimes you got to take a
Like,
step back and just look at
exactly,
everything from a different perspective,
exactly, yeah,
analyze it and be like, all right, now let's cook, let's go back in
exactly,
the kitchen. Sometimes you need a break.
exactly.
You need a break because I know, I mean,
Yes,
we
yeah,
just go hard. We writing and
heck
thinking and
yeah.
creating, and then you just get overwhelmed. And he's like, all right, you know what? I made this so far. Let's see what it
Hmm.
looks like. And then
Hmm.
you know what? Let's go back when I'm ready.
Exactly. So I'm
Because
like,
I feel like it can't be forced. I feel like when we
it
try to
cannot. It
fight
cannot.
the block, if you want to call it that, you
Hmm.
forcing it, it don't come out well. You know when you're
Hmm.
ready. 'Cause once you sit in front of that computer or whatever it is you're doing, it's
Hmm.
just,
Yeah. Yeah.
without
Yeah.
even
Yeah. Yeah.
thinking. Hmm.
Yeah. Because as creators, we go like 100 miles per hour. I was like,
Yeah.
because we're letting it flow. That's how you
Yeah.
know you're getting it.
Hmm. Them
And
juices is
sometimes when
going.
you, yeah, and sometimes you just need, like you said, take a break. Like get the way I do it. I sometimes go for a walk outside, like
Yeah.
get my mind into nature when it's not snowing or raining. But yeah, but do some chores around the house. Get like put your mind on something else and just let your mind rest a bit
Hmm.
and just distract yourself. I was like, cause like don't be too much on social media because that only rots your brain.
Yeah.
It rots your
Yeah.
brain. It's too much.
Oh my
It's too
God.
much
It's
stuff
brain
going
rot.
on.
Oh yeah.
I was
And
like,
then I feel like that just screws you
heck,
up.
it really does. And like, I'm like, dude, pick up a comic, pick up a novel.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
if you love fantasy,
Something.
read Percy Jackson, Hunger Games, or
Yeah.
Harry Potter, for God's sakes. If you
Something.
love horror, find anything Stephen King, find anything, what's John Carpenter. Or I was like, hell, go watch Marvel, DC.
Yeah, just get
Like
away from
anything.
just get off the phone.
Yeah, I
It's
was like, dude, let's
it's
get
ridiculous
anything.
out there.
Yeah, just get anything that could just stimulate your mind a bit,
Hmm.
grow your imagination. That's how I
Yeah,
got into writing, because
yeah.
writing is my therapy.
Hmm.
Because growing up,
Agreed.
I'm a big mental health advocate, so so I talk a lot about mental health, but because
Hmm.
I deal with it all the time, especially
Yeah,
growing up. I was
I
growing up in a
feel you.
house full of women in my entire life.
Hmm.
Only a male in my household. I was confused. I was angry. I was depressed. I had anxiety. Man, I blamed everybody else out
Yeah.
for bullshit. That was my fault, actually.
Uh-huh.
That's like how rude. And like, dude, I thought like I convinced myself my mother didn't love me, and my
Yeah,
sister was just doing. My mother loved my sister more, and all this
yeah,
stuff. I was like, my sister was doing more shit than I was. I was like,
yeah.
I wasn't doing anything. I was like,
Hmm.
if I was doing a lot of stuff as my sister, my mom would be
Yeah,
going back and forth between both of us because that's literally what she always done. She's
yeah,
always
yeah.
encouraged, and I didn't see that as a kid. She always encouraged me to get in something so she could support me, but I didn't see that. I was too wrapped up in my own head.
Hmm. No, I feel you. I feel you
And
100%.
I was like, bro, and like when I and she got me into writing because
Hmm.
we had a deep conversation one day. She explained to me what she meant by that she didn't want to have a son. She said she didn't want to have a son with the man she was with because she knew that
Yeah.
she was going to have to raise me by herself. So she was
Hmm.
terrified
Yeah.
and didn't know how to raise a man. I was
Hmm.
like, I was like, what?
No, I feel
And
you.
the way she had me deal with my anger, and she said, "Boy, sit your tail down, grab a notebook and pencil,
That's it.
because I'm not gonna raise no toxic, um,
Hmm.
a masculine man.
Yeah,
I'm like,
sometimes you
you
gotta
ain't
let it
finna."
out one way
I was
or
like, you
another.
ain't. And she flat out said, "I ain't raising no boy. I'm raising a man, or
Yeah.
gentleman at that."
Hmm.
And she was like, I was like, you ain't finna go around beating no woman or anything. I ain't, no, that's not in my household. I'm like,
Yeah.
if you, she said, I will beat your tail if you before you try to beat somebody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Of
Sometimes
course, I'm
that
like,
pen and that pad is the best shoulder to
man,
lean on, you know?
heck yeah, man. And of course, I brushed it off because I didn't want to do it, but she made me sit in my room, and she would not let me leave until I actually started writing.
Yeah,
get my
now look.
thoughts out. And then I finally caved. I'm just like, fine, okay.
Yeah,
And then I started writing poetry.
there you go.
And I was being honest that I had thoughts of suicide. I
Hmm.
wanted to end it all. I did have those thoughts. I'm not
Yeah.
afraid to admit that now.
Hmm.
But I did have those thoughts. I'm like purpose here. I'm like my sister has all this and that. I'm like,
Hmm.
what am I here for?
Yeah. No, I feel you.
Yeah, I started writing poetry, and and that's the reason why I got into horror a lot more because I like the darkness. I want and I want to hide in darkness. I think that's why I gravitated towards the horror side. But then I gotta balance my mother because my mother didn't want me watching horror because I did sneak around even though she didn't want me to watch it. So,
Yeah, we always
but
gonna do what we want to do regardless.
yeah, but I grew up on. I'm a Disney kid. I'm a
Hmm.
Nickelodeon kid. I'm a Cartoon Network kid. Um, so yeah, and so I grew up on Lord of the Rings, Cat Dog, Keenan and Kel, um, all the old school animations and movies and everything. So I kind of got that balance. That's why horror and fantasy is really my strong suit in
Yeah.
writing. So
No, I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, like I started the same way. I started with
yeah,
poetry, and then like I said, I grew up in Brooklyn. Then I got
heck
into
yeah,
music. I've always been a fan of hip hop since I was a youngin'.
right.
I grew up with hip hop, you know what I mean?
Mm,
So once I hit that age, my friends were rapping, so I was like, let me see what I could do here. You know what I mean? Because I just had
uh,
all these thoughts and ideas and all these words, and then I started doing that. But I felt like, I mean, it was fun. We had a good time, put out some good music, but I felt like I needed more. I needed more. You know,
yeah,
I needed a
heck
lot
yeah.
more than that. When I hit my 30s, I was like, I don't really want to. I'm too old for this. Like, but I still want to create. I want to make something. And it's something I gotta do. Like I gotta.
Mm,
And then I was chilling with one of my homeboys at work. We were talking about the Marvel movies at the time, and it was like, yo, imagine us writing our own stories. And I was like, man, I think I could write a crazy comic book story if I tried.
heck
A
yeah,
couple people were like, nah, I don't know. You too ghetto to write a comic book story. I'm like, and that's the kind of comic
yeah.
book story I'm gonna write. I wrote the hoodest comic book story ever, and people loved it. Because
I
that's
was
what
like,
I
have you
like.
not seen? I mean, have you not seen Luke Cage?
Yeah, like I brought, like I said, I grew up in the city. I grew up in Brooklyn,
Heck yeah.
and I wanted to bring, I feel like, I've read a bunch of comic books and read a bunch, I just never felt like the Brooklyn and the city I grew up in wasn't
Mm,
captured like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the Grady,
mm,
the crackheads, the prostitutes, people getting jumped in the streets for no reason, the gangs. So I kind of brought that element into into the comic books I was doing, and they were like, "Yo, can't believe this guy did it. Hey, he did it. Like this is
yeah.
some real, for lack of a better word, some real hood shit. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? And
heck yeah, dude.
and then
Man.
people liked it, and I was like, man, I guess I'll run with it. Even
Mm.
DMC for Run DMC, he loves it. Every time I
Man,
see him
Run
at a Comic
DMC.
Con,
Oh my God, such
that
a legend.
to me,
Man.
that's where I felt like I got my stamp of approval. Because like I said, I grew up,
Mm,
hip hop was my thing. So I remember I was at New York City Comic Con, and he got his own comic books, and I was like, man, I gotta say what's up to this man. You know what I'm saying? So
mm,
just not just off the comic book thing, but off of just everything, hip hop, you know what I'm saying? Like
mm.
you're DMC, you know what I mean? And I
Heck
went
yeah.
up to him. I was like, yo, you know, much love. I want to give you something. He's like, give me something. It's like,
Mm,
yeah, here's this comic book. He looked at the
mm,
cover. He was like, yo, this is dope. And we were talking. He's like, you're going to be here tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be here tomorrow. He's like, come see me tomorrow. If I like it, I'll let you know. But if it's shit, I'm going to tell you it's shit. So be prepared. Oh my God,
sir.
all day, all night.
Yes,
The
sir.
next day, I was like, oh my
Oh
God,
my God.
I'm going to die. And then I saw him the next day. I was just like a little nervous. And
Mhm.
then he was doing the interview. You know, somebody had the camera there or whatever. And as soon as it was done, he's like, Matt, come in. I was like, oh shit. You remember me? I don't know if this is good or if this is bad or what. And then he was like, where's the rest? I'm like, what do you mean, where's the rest? It's coming. He's like, this is the most hip hop comedy. He's like, I felt hip hop in there. I was like, don't tell me this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you about to make me cry. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you
Heck
doing?
yeah. Oh my
Like, what are
God.
you doing?
Dude. Heck yeah, dude.
But yeah, to me, I walked out of there, my head super held up high, because it was DMC. And so the following year, I seen him. I gave him issue number two, and I had my daughter with me, my oldest. You know, I take both my kids. They both into art. My oldest is more into comic book art and stuff like that. And you know, they know hip hop. They love Crush Groove, and then when they see me with him, my daughter's like, Dad, you know who he is? I'm like, do you know who he is? I know who he is.
That part,
She's
I'm
like,
like,
but
do
why
you
is
know who he is?
yeah? She's
Yeah.
like, but why is he
Heck yeah.
showing you love? She's like, yo, that is real. I'm like, I told you, it's the hustle, man. It's all
Oh
about the
hell yeah.
hustle.
It's always the hustle, man. Heck yeah.
It's always the hustle. So you know what? You get it in.
Oh
You
yeah,
get it in.
man.
Ever since that day, that just gave me the motivation to keep going, because
Hmm.
I was like I said earlier, I wasn't really into comic books as a teenager. I pushed back, and I kind of got back into it as an adult and getting back into the community and all that. I didn't realize how big the comic book scene was, like I didn't realize that at all. And it was like, damn. And I mean, since then, I've gotten mad love. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Oh
put
heck
out a
yeah.
couple. I got a couple different stories out. My main one, my baby, is my chaos theory. And then I got a like a weed adventure kind of story with my cousin. It's like Back to the Future meets How High. This is crazy. You could tell
Oh my
I
God.
wasn't in the right state of
You
mind when I
you
wrote this.
sold me Back to the Future. I love that movie. I freaking love that
Like
movie.
it is so just the way I just came up with this idea. I was just like, you know what? I looked at my cousin. I'm like, I'm gonna write a story because when we was doing the music, I did it with my cousin, and we did a lot of dumb shit when we was doing this. Like we did a lot of dumb shit. You know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
got a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
explaining to do when I go to heaven. You know what I'm saying? If they let me in, but. So, we're grown now. We were just joking about it, and I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna write a comic book about, us going on crazy adventures, but we're like, high and doing like retarded dumb shit." You know what I'm saying? Like, just
Heck
getting into
yeah.
trouble throughout history, but keeping it
Oh
like
yeah.
historically accurate with things that really happened in history. But you
Oh
just
my
throw us
God.
into the mix. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Heck yeah, dude.
like it's got to be historically accurate, but we just so happen
Mhm.
to be in the background. Like
Oh
this
my God.
happened, but me and my cousin were in the background doing the most dumbest shit you could ever think of. You know what I'm saying?
No. Oh no. Oh my God,
Yeah, yeah, and
bro.
it's called The Chronicles. Of course, it had to be chronic. The Chronicles of Malo and Kremp. And
Dude, that sounds hilarious.
yeah, it's
Oh
it's
my God.
it's me, my cousin, and this. Like I said, I was very high when I came up with the concept of this story. There's this mystical genie that goes on this adventure with us, right?
Hmm.
And he's not the kind of genie that comes out of a lamp. He's not blue or nothing like that. He comes out of this weed that we just so happen to steal from somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Oh
just
my God.
comes out of this blunt, but he's like I said, he's not no blue genie. He looks like a rabbi for some reason. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like it's probably gonna offend some people, but it's still funny. You'll get over being offended. Just wipe your boo boo. You know what I mean? It's a funny story. You
Heck
know?
yeah. Oh
You
my
know what I
God.
mean? But
Oh heck yeah.
let's get back to you, man. Like as an indie creator, what would you say was one of your biggest mistakes creating anything, whether it was a novel or one of your comic books?
My biggest mistakes.
Hmm.
Um,
Like you ever hit a wall that you knew, man, I kind of could have prevented this, but whatever, to each his own. You live and you learn.
hmm, I think my biggest mistake is probably jumping into a production too fast
Hmm.
without actually having a full script done when I
Hmm.
first started.
Yeah.
Because
I just think it's the excitement. Like, oh man, I want
yeah,
to do this. You know?
yeah, because Arcfire, I had like part of the script done, and I just sent it to Ralphie, and we just started production, but I didn't have the full issue one story done.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think that's my biggest mistake. Uh,
Like just jumping in. I
uh,
mean, I kind of still create that way. Like
yeah,
I'll create the
like I
whole
still gotta make that
premise.
mistake with Arcfire issue two, but I
Yeah.
at least finished it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
When is that releasing?
Oh, I
Oh,
already
it's
did
out
the
already, you said.
yeah, I already did the Kickstarter. It's
Okay.
funded. Just getting the final. I'm just waiting for the final 3 pages left from Ralphie, so I
Hmm.
can get that to print. So I can get that to print, so I can
Hmm.
ship those out from the Kickstarter backers
Okay.
to the Kickstarter backers. Jeez, I can't speak English. But you can grab both copies on my website, killside.com.
Okay.
So,
All
but
right.
yeah, yeah.
I'm definitely gonna make sure I put the links in there. Now, here's my question because I've never done a Kickstarter campaign. Never. Not one time.
Mm,
I've backed many projects. I've always, I don't know, maybe it was that hustle mentality from back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
mhm,
I just got the product. Let me bring it right to the streets. Like, I
mhm.
never did. How hard is it or how easy is it to put together a Kickstarter campaign?
Oh no, the first question was right. How hard it is? It ain't easy at all. It's not easy at all because
Hmm.
Arcfire was actually my first Kickstarter ever,
Okay. All
and
right.
yeah, I was actually
How'd
shocked
that
that
go?
it funded. That was a shocker. But it's so many moving parts that you have to put into it.
Hmm.
You have to have some um from what I've learned, make sure you have to. A lot of people love seeing the finished cover and seeing some finished pages on a
Yeah.
pre-launch page to get them
Hmm.
interested and wanting to back it, to follow it and to back it. You have to make sure you have the description of the story.
Hmm.
Like make sure you have your team on there, who's part of your team and where it's coming
Okay.
from. And then the next part is marketing. I get to get people interested in following
Hmm.
it, and
Hmm.
because you have to do it. I'm like, dude, you cannot slack on a Kickstarter whatsoever.
I could imagine.
Oh my
I could
God.
imagine.
Um, but it's definitely not an easy process.
Hmm.
Especially grabbing people's attention.
Hmm.
Especially with the algorithm on the social media platforms changing every single day. So then again, because sometimes you might get days you don't get nothing, like no reaction because nobody saw it because the algorithm changed and they didn't push
Yeah.
your post. Well, a lot of times they don't push your post because you're not paying them to promote your stuff. You're not paying the platform to promote your stuff, so they basically suppress you
Yeah. That's
and
how
things like
that's all it is. You gotta pay to play. That's it. You gotta
it's
pay to play.
it's dude, it's
Hmm.
so freaking ridiculous. But by the grace of God, people saw my posts. Probably
Okay.
because I posted like 5 times a day.
Okay.
I
That
did
was
not
my
recommend
next
that.
question.
I do not recommend that whatsoever.
No? Hmm.
No, because
How
that will
often should you post and to what social media platforms are you posting to, you know,
for
that brought
people.
you that success for your first Kickstarter?
From what I learned, it doesn't matter how much you post or how many
Hmm.
times you post because you always hear people give advice. I'm like, post this many times a day or this many
Yeah.
times on this. I was like, that doesn't work. It does not
Yeah.
work at all. You have to find your own pattern.
Hmm.
That's my
Yeah.
advice. You have to find your own pattern, and you have to test each time because each time is I mean because each day is a different time.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times for me, a lot of times I post very late at night because people are up at night apparently.
Oh
I
yeah. I'm one of
am
them.
I'm a night owl. I'm a night owl. And so like on YouTube, my YouTube shorts, I post like very late night views come in quickly. And I got up to like 1,000 views on YouTube now.
Okay.
Um, Posting like very at night. And so then like the next day I tested like a video like early in the morning or midday,
Nothing.
nothing. It's like
Mm-hmm.
interesting. So I deleted it, waited, posted it later at night, viewed it
Better.
again. Like, okay. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
it really depends on you just have to make your pattern. And
Yeah.
then one day I tried it again, a new day, midday, views actually started coming in. Okay, algorithm change. So you
Mm-hmm.
really have to you
Gotta
basically
play with
every
it.
day is a test. Every day is a
Mm-hmm.
simple test.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like even like on Instagram, I post say like recently I post a reel. It got flooded with comments and likes and views, and I was like, interesting. And well, like I could post like a piece of art, I get like some likes, not that many. I
Mm-hmm.
post a random meme, it's still getting like today from a year ago for some
Yeah.
reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, this algorithm is interesting. And
Mm-hmm.
then I post a poetry I wrote. I get a lot. I get likes from people I forgot I'm friends with on social. I was like, interesting. So I look at that. So I strategically kind of make sure to post to see which post gets the most reaction. Then I start like trying to change up my marketing a bit and see how well it does. And then ever since I've done that, been getting some views and getting some reactions. So I was like, okay, so every day is a different type of test. I can't tell you when to post because you have to decide that on your own. You have to test the waters and see.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Jamie Lee Curtis said it the best. Like she doesn't like giving advice because she doesn't want to feel like she's controlling your life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so when people ask me for advice, I was like, I don't want to tell you what I do because it might not
Yeah.
work for you.
Yeah.
So, so
Things
the
are
thing I
different
would
for
give, I'm
everybody.
like, yeah, exactly. So I was like, so advice I would give, I'm like, test the water,
Yeah.
but most importantly, have fun with it
Mm-hmm.
and make sure you have the mindset that you want to do this long term because you cannot just jump into this if like you have to have the determination, you have to have that mindset. It's always about mindset.
Yeah.
If your mind is in it, your heart is gonna be in it, your soul is gonna be in it. You're gonna be
Yeah.
good.
You can't come at
You get
this half-assed.
you get at all.
You gotta go in 100%.
And I was like, and also I would advise like go on podcasts, see who have you on their podcasts, because that also
Mm-hmm.
brings in more audience for you, potentially getting your product.
Yeah.
I was like, if you, I was like, I'm like, you can't be shy because I'm like, this is a entertainment industry. You have to
Yeah.
entertain,
Yeah.
and you
You
have to. And also, I'm like, don't be fake. That's be you. Don't be
yeah,
afraid to be you. I
exactly.
was like, that's there. I'm like, cause social media is fake. It's fake all the time,
Yeah.
all the freaking time.
Everything is fake. Now with AI, who knows what we're looking at? You know what I'm
Right,
saying? It's like,
exactly. I was like, it's
you know,
ridiculous. It's really
hmm
ridiculous. I'm like, simply just be you, and your crowd will come. That's the
yeah,
biggest thing I've learned. I was like, if you
exactly.
just be real and just be you, trust me, your
hmm
crowd will come. Because,
Yeah, and
dude, when as soon as I started just being me and my socials have been growing slowly, but they have been growing.
yeah, organically,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I ain't buying no followers. I'm just
hmm
freaking posting, being me, and just showing.
Yeah,
I'm like, yes, I'm a poet. I'm a writer. I'm a
yeah,
inspirational leader. I'm a mentor, and then I freaking got feedback from like people saying that they admire me. I was like, what did
yeah.
I do to be? I was like, okay,
Hey,
I'm mutual who has a huge following, and I remember she told me saying that she sees me and she gets inspired by me. I was like, what the fuck did I do?
hey, it could be any little thing. It could be that little poem you wrote or a comic
Right.
book
I
image
was
you
like,
showed, something that grabs
what the
somebody's
crap
attention. They're
did
like,
I
wow, you know what?
do?
Yeah.
And I remember I posted a video of me talking or speaking a poem I wrote.
hmm
And my friend who has she's verified and everything, she commented, she said, you have a great talent.
Yeah.
I was like, thank you so much.
hmm
And I remember somebody reached out to me on Instagram asking about an interview because they said they've been watching my brand and how I grow my brand or like how I do my brand, especially about mental health. And they asked me if I could be on there, if they could be on my podcast.
hmm
And I was like, when I got that, man, I was like, okay, so clearly some people are watching me without me knowing who's watching me.
Yeah. Hey, the
I
more
was like,
eyes, the merrier.
all
hmm
right. I was like, okay, so I'm like, okay, so something's getting out there that's
hmm
people are seeing, but I don't know who's seeing it because no one's speaking to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
As long as
like
they watching,
interesting.
as
And
long
it's
as they
like,
watching,
that's
eventually
right.
they'll come out. Uh-huh.
Right. And so of course I
Uh-huh.
got my and I do I was so happy I got hate comments before. I was like, I'm doing something right. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
The
like
more
some
they
random
hate, the more
or
they
there's some
like you.
random trolls out the blue
I love the
and
hate.
dude, I'd be crying laughing my tail off. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, did your mother not love you or something? Because why are you
Yeah,
so angry? I was like, I don't even know you, and you don't freaking know me. So why the hell you hate? I'm like, thank you for the hate because you interact with my content, but
exactly.
Jesus.
You hated so much that you had to tell me that you hated. Thank
And
you for
bro,
taking that 5 seconds out of your day to tell
right,
me
and
how much you didn't like me. I love it.
bro,
Thank
and
you.
when I commented on like posts on Facebook, and someone trying to insult me, so like, go be a look good comic book boy and go do something else.
That's fine. I'll
And
be that.
I looked at his profile and said, "Oh, he's just an old fart that wastes his life."
Yeah,
I was like, first of all, buddy, being a nerd is actually really fun because I'm making money. I probably make more than you.
yeah,
Second of all, I have my own company. You probably have
yeah.
no, you probably don't. You're probably working on under somebody that you don't even like. Three, I actually have a following a bit. So
Exactly.
clearly being a comic book boy is actually really good for me.
Exactly.
Because
And it's only gonna get better from here. You know?
and then I'm like, and plus, I don't just do comic books, by the way. If you actually looked at my profile, I do shoes, I do drinks, I do comic
hmm
books, I do
Yeah.
novels, I do magazines, I do
Yeah.
like
You're
like
just an
so
all-around creative. It's not just
exactly,
you're not focusing on one medium. It's you're letting your
exactly,
creative juices just spill all over the
exactly,
table. And that's how it should be. You know,
exactly.
like that's why
And
I wanted to do more than just like I said with the music. I kind of felt like
mhm,
I need to do something more than that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly,
what's the next
yeah.
step? And then there was comic books. And then, I wrote a couple novels myself. And now I'm working on a
Mhm,
trading card game. And it's not because, I like to, I'm always doing something different.
mhm.
I like to test the extent of my creativity. You know what I'm
Thank you.
saying?
Somebody gets it. Yes.
Yeah, like I want to see how far I could go. It may not
Mhm,
work. It may be the worst thing I ever did. But guess what? There's only
mhm,
one way for me to find out. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying?
Oh
And
yeah,
that's it. And that's how it should be. When you're creative, test the waters. You should never feel
exactly.
like, well, I can't do that because I can't do this. Like they say, you got to be a great artist to be a comic book, to make comic books. That's bullshit.
Right, it really
Most
is.
comic books aren't created by one person. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like,
Exactly.
come
Thank
on.
you.
And
Thank you.
even if it was, you know how long it's gonna take you to make one comic book? You gotta write it, and you gotta do this, and you gotta do that.
You
And
got a
it's gonna
budget. You
take
got, yeah.
you like a
It's
thousand
legit.
years to put out an
It's
issue.
legit a whole movie process basically, just
Yeah,
on
you know what I'm
paper.
saying? Exactly,
Just on
exactly. So,
paper. But
like
yeah.
it's all about networking you know, with us, with
Oh,
like-minded creatives. You know what I'm
and
saying?
then
Like, oh,
I also want to tell you a story about other hate comments I got. That wasn't on my post, by the way. It
hmm
was on another mutual of mine. She made a simple post talking about relationships and how a man is supposed to be for how a man is supposed to treat a woman and stuff like that, like from her perspective. And I gave my perspective as a man how she is correct as a man how we're supposed to treat women, right?
hmm
Tell me why I get these many replies of
I
some
could only
random
imagine.
dudes. I'm like, bro, you know she's not finna let you hit, right? And like, bro, I'm like, then some other dude call me a simp. I'm like, first of all, she's my friend.
hmm
I'm like, I literally working with her on projects right now. Second of all, you just proved her point right now, you idiot. And third of all, the reason you're getting triggered is because she's right.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then
And they
and
mad
then
that you on her side. They're like, this guy,
and
you
then
know.
like the dude replies, "Oh, dude, being friend zoned and shit." I was like, I literally just said she's my friend,
Yeah.
and I actually
That's
told. And the crazy thing, it was the same day. I was on the phone with her that same day, talking to her. I'm like, I don't know how you deal with these comments, like seriously. And I legit, I'm like, dude, I have more than I mean, I have something that you don't from her. One, I have
yeah,
her number. That's
exactly.
first of all. Two, I
hmm
have her respect. And three, I have her friendship. As I said, she's my friend.
exactly. They're like, oh, if she's not gonna let you hit if you're so nice. That's just dumb way of
I
thinking.
was
Like, come
like,
on, no one's
I was
even.
like, I
This ain't
ain't.
even a topic for that.
I was like, why is a man defending a woman always being considered trying to hit? I was like, it's called respect for God's
Mhm.
sakes.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then some other dude, somebody said, saying, as a man is very a stretch. I mean, basically trying to say that I'm not a man. I was
Yeah.
like, I always bumps like, your definition of being a man is being toxic. You're not a man, you idiot. I'm saying, if me being a simp, I mean, if me,
Hmm.
if call, I mean, if me being respectful make me a simp, then I don't freaking care.
Yeah. I feel like
I was like, I
there's
don't freaking,
this. I don't know. I feel like there's this. I guess the,
um,
I guess I want to say like a stereotype people see when it comes to like, people that create comic books and art and things like that. Like, and I'm not gonna lie, growing up, I always used to think, oh, these are some, nerdy people or whatever. Till I stepped into that and I became one of those people. I'm like, I know
exactly,
some of the realest people that
exactly.
are writers, artists, anything. You know what I'm saying? And
And when
I
you
don't
think
know.
about it, I always say when you think about it, nerds actually run the world because who are the
Yeah,
ones that got businesses going?
and it
Who's the
ain't
head
even
of the
about
head of these corporations?
yeah,
It's
and it
like
ain't even about being
nerds.
a nerd. Like, I'm just doing what I like. You mad because you don't like nothing and you boring. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
if that makes me a nerd, I'm gonna be a nerd. If I want to pick up a comic book or buy some
Facts.
Funko Pops and
Facts. Thank you.
it like get into things that I like. If that makes me a nerd, fine, I'm gonna be a nerd. If you want to test how much of a nerd I am, come see me and I'll show you how much of a nerd I can be. You know what I mean?
Heck
Because
yes. Heck yes.
like get out of here.
I'm a wrestling fan. I'm a Disney fan. I'm a Nickelodeon fan. I'm a
Yeah,
Cartoon Network, Teen Nick. Who what else? I'm a hip hop fan. I love country too. I'm like, I love country. I love jazz. I love old. I'm
absolutely.
like, I love the. I'm like, if you ask me who the artists are today, I would not be able to answer that question because I don't listen to
Hmm.
the artists today. I
Yeah.
listen to the old school like LL Cool J, Dr.
Hmm.
Dre, Ice
Yeah.
Cube, In Vogue,
Hmm.
um, what's Ice, shoot, I forget the names. Something Pepper.
Salt and pepper.
Thank you, Jesus Christ, thank you. Like Salt and Pepper. New Edition,
Yeah.
Boys to Man. I was like, dude, I'm
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah. All
I'm
day.
raised in old school
All
household, dude,
day.
brother.
And to be
Michael
honest,
Jackson, bro.
I
Prince, Whitney
think
Houston, dude, hell
oh,
yeah.
absolutely, 100%. And honestly, I think most mainstream mediums right now, whether it's comic books, movies,
Hmm.
music, I feel like the mainstream, they're not putting out nothing worthwhile. Like, I feel
They're
like some of
not.
the best stuff is coming on an independent level.
Exactly.
I
Thank
feel
you.
like a lot of the good comes to hip hop and rap music. A lot of the better music is coming from the indie scene. Comic books. Spend I will I would buy indie comics before I buy a Marvel or DC comic. You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
I'll
Uh-huh.
spend that $10 on that one issue, then like buying two or three, the weekly Marvels or DCs. You know what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
I kind of know where they're gonna go with this or what's really happening. Like I want to see
Hmm.
what this person who I don't know from a hole in the wall really, and they kind of like we in the same boat right now. Let me see what they putting out. Oh man, you're gonna find some hot shit. You're gonna find some whack shit. But that's
Hmm.
everything. But I feel like some of the better things in most mediums of entertainment is coming on an independent level. A hundred
Agree.
percent.
I've always
Even
been
on
saying,
YouTube, indie
right.
movies. Like
Exactly.
I forgot what it was. I came across it on TikTok. Some indie Freddy Krueger film. I was like, oh
Mm-hmm.
crap, this is better than even the last one that came out. Like
Oh,
I think indie
I did not
creators.
want to talk about the 2010 Shredder. Nope, I did not
Oh
want to
yeah,
bring
no,
it
we
up.
don't
No,
we don't
no,
talk about that. That
uh,
stays in the
no.
forgotten files. But that's just to prove my point. Like a lot of the independent projects
Hmm.
are kind of better than most mainstream projects. I'm not saying
Hmm.
all of them, but a lot of it, a lot of it is. I mean, that's my opinion. People probably gonna comment on that, but I really think it is, man. I really think it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I truly believe independent is the new Hollywood because we actually bring
absolutely.
originality.
exactly. We sitting here with our thoughts, and we're not in a boardroom. We're not throwing ideas around to 20 different people, and whatever sounds good is what we're gonna put together. Now
Mhm.
we just in our space trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And what we
Exactly.
come up with. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Exactly.
that's just how I feel. I mean, and going back on the hate, and your Kickstarter, you did successfully put your first one out. Was there ever a time you wanted to feel like you wanted to quit? Like if that Kickstarter, especially if it didn't turn out the way it turned out,
No,
would you have
no.
continued, or would you just stop?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't come from a family that quits. Like
Okay.
that's a basic forbidden word in our vocabulary is quit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because the way we see it, especially we don't consider ourselves religious. We're more of a spiritual family,
Yeah.
but we're a
Mm-hmm.
believer because like I don't want to get preachy, as people say, but like even when you think about it, when you read the Bible, God never calls his people Christians.
Mm-hmm.
He literally just say believers, the
Mm-hmm.
believers of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So we always say we're believers. We're not necessarily Christians. But if people ask us, yeah, we're going to say Christian. Yes, we're Christian because not
Yeah.
everyone understands what spirituality what truly is. So,
Mm-hmm.
but we say yes, we're Christians. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way we see things is um, a what was it? A rejection is nothing more than a redirection.
Exactly.
So the way we go by is like sometimes you have to. It's like God allows us to fail because He's teaching us a lesson of what not to do the next time.
Exactly.
And
A
it's
hundred
like
percent.
like a lot of like people are way too easy to quit because one, their mind is not in the game, which when their mind's not in the game, their heart's not in the game. When their heart's not in the game, their spirit's not in the game. So
Yeah.
they're not connected to the
Mm-hmm.
I can't find I don't know the right word, but they're just not connected to where they're supposed to be, and
Yeah.
because they're not ready, so they're
Yeah.
easily quitting because they feel like they see. Because also the other thing, uh, people allow others to get in their head because they see so much success on this person,
Yeah.
and so that also creates jealousy and
Yeah. This is
strife,
hard
and
work.
that's yeah.
This is hard work.
I was like, but when you think about it, you don't know what the heck that person went through to get this success until
Exactly.
they talk about it. I've seen
Exactly.
so many successful people I follow on social media. They talk about how they nearly off themselves before
Yeah.
they became successful because how many
Mm-hmm.
failures they had. And that's why I love following the creators I follow because they be honest about their mental health
Yeah.
and talking about it. And mental health is not talked about enough. And that's like
No.
I'm getting
Ah.
to that because now that's why I'm getting into that
Mm-hmm.
atmosphere. I'm like that's why I started my podcast, a mental health podcast. Like it's like I call it my therapy session, social work. But I know, but I balance it out by so yes, this podcast is main topic is mental health, but we also talk about entertainment and what we
Mm-hmm.
like to do, and just talk about you.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I'm like, I'm like, if you're not comfortable talking about mental health, you can still come on and we'll talk about everything else but mental health. I don't care.
Yeah.
We can still interview you. Just give me a heads up, and I won't bring up mental health if you're not comfortable talking about it. That's completely
Mm-hmm.
fine. I still want to interview you,
Yeah.
and I just want like, if you just need a good, a safe space just to talk and just get stuff off your chest, come on. We can have
Yeah.
fun.
And just
I
shoot
was
the
like,
shit.
because
That's it.
yeah, I was like, I have a degree in human services, so that's
Okay.
literally my background. uh, so I was like, I wanted to be like a social worker, but I don't want to be like a social worker that be in an office talking, being in a box. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I'm like, that's nerve wracking. I was like, I went to a leadership camp called Bridge Builders where we learned how to teamwork, how to social, I mean, how to network, how to be social, how to meet people that we don't know yet. But after a whole week together, we'd be a family and actually know how to talk and get out of our comfort zones. I'd be in my community picking up trash around the community. That's what we did in my leadership camp. And that's also where I learned to get out of my comfort zone too, was through Bridge
Yeah.
Builders in my high school years. And so that's why I'm like, I want to get to that type of social work where we get our hands into something and get our mind stimulated to something else.
Yeah.
I was like, forget about what's going on right now. let's get our minds and our hands dirty for a minute and just have fun. Like bring that child out of you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I
exactly.
was like, dude,
Exactly.
I'm like, we can stop adulting for a good few hours and just be a kid
And
again.
just be us. That's it. That's it.
And that's all. That's literally all I want to do. Like someday I want to build my own studio, my own company studio, where
Hmm.
I'm like where it's one, it's publishing, but I'm also doing photography. So I do
Yeah.
photography,
Okay.
and I also like bring people in this house. I'm like when I get to do like in-person podcasts, I'm like, come on, let's have some fun, let's do some weird shit. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like,
Exactly.
let's
You know what I'm
have some
saying? It's all
let's
about
just nerd out and just have fun and just be kids
shit.
again.
It's
Like, come
about
on.
being the being the true you, even if it's for an
Exactly.
hour a day or
Exactly.
an hour
Yes.
a week. Sometimes we gotta
Heck
reconnect
yes.
with us, because like you said, you know what, we're adult in 24 hours a day, we're working, we got bills, we got families, we got
Mhm.
this, we got that. You know, it's the constant repeat, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just need that one little hour just to
Heck yeah.
forget about everything and just be me. You know what I'm
Heck
saying? Let's,
yes. Heck
whether it's
yes.
picking up or playing some video games or
Heck yeah.
whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Having a
Heck yeah.
conversation with someone who's trying to, be in that same position as you. Like
Heck yeah,
my
man.
therapy is creating. You know what I'm saying? I'm bipolar,
Exactly.
and it
Yeah.
it helps me from losing my mind. It really does. Like,
That part.
I had my
Yeah.
break a couple years ago. Went
Hmm.
to the hospital, and when I came out, I was like, man, nope. I need to. My therapy is with this pen and this paper. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it always. I'm gonna never stop creating. Whether I make hits or make flops, I'm gonna create. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna do it all. What works, works. What doesn't, hey, at least I tried. You know what I mean? You
Exactly.
know?
Exactly.
But
Heck
on that
yeah.
note, you know what I'm saying? We're about to end it in a second. I want to
Mm.
just end it on this one last note. Like, as I mentioned before, I want people to watch this podcast, whether they experience and putting projects out. Like I said, not just comic books, everything. Whether you're putting together a game, or movie, or you photography, whatever it is, whatever kind of art you trying to put out. You know what I'm saying? It's all the same hustle.
Mm.
Like what? As a person who's already put out some successful Kickstarters and projects, and you got a couple books out, what advice would you give to that person coming across this video, like just looking for some kind of guidance and how to do what we do, how to get to that stage, how to, the ups and the downs they're gonna go through. You know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of advice would you give to that person?
Well, first, it starts with mindset.
Hmm.
Always start with mindset. Ask yourself, is this really what you want to do? And ask yourself why.
Hmm.
And if it's and if your answer to why is to make money, you're not ready. You're not ready.
Yeah. It's,
But if your answer to why is because I want to tell a story through any
hmm.
aspect of if it's books, comics, games, or whatever, you're getting like you're getting there. You're ready because
Hmm.
you're not thinking about money. You're not getting to that's the other thing that's why people fail is because they think about money. They
Yeah.
want to make money. They don't have the
Hmm.
passion. They don't make money.
Yeah.
But I'll say in this industry, you have to make sure you have the mindset of passion. You have the heart of passion. You have the to get through the pain, to get through the hardships, but most importantly, know that failure is not failure. Failure is just a redirection. So
Exactly.
you have to fall down before you can get back up, brother.
Couldn't say it better.
Brothers and sisters, you have to fall down to get back up
Hmm.
because if you just get up, what are you going to learn if you just keep getting up? Like, oh, that's like just keep getting. But if you just up without it falling, wait, what you going to learn? How you going to teach somebody else? You
Yeah.
have to fall
Mhm.
down to keep pushing through to keep what mother says keep faithing through because
Yeah.
it's all a work of faith.
Exactly.
And
It's not
but
about to me, it's not about the fall. It's about
yeah,
what you do when you get up.
exactly. And it's like if you fall, what you gonna
Because we all
do?
fall.
I
We
was
all
like, heck
fall.
yeah,
We all gonna trip
heck
one
yeah.
day. But
Oh
what
yeah, oh
happens
yeah,
when you get up? Do you continue to
oh
make
yeah,
that same mistake,
oh yeah,
or do you redirect yourself?
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But on that note, man,
Oh,
Kevin, I
and
want to
then
thank you.
also,
Oh,
well, sorry, I'll also say also when you get to the point, it's like, okay, I'm not gonna let this hinder me.
yeah,
I'm gonna keep pressing through.
yeah.
Then you really know now you're harnessing to it,
Hmm.
and as you keep going, you keep walking through. Now your spirit is being built up, and now you
Yep.
got your mind, your heart, and your spirit
Yeah, you gotta be that gotta be
aligned.
aligned. You gotta have the
Exactly,
one, two, and the three. You can't have the one
exactly.
or the two
And
because
then
you're never gonna see through without
and
all
then my
three.
last exactly, and then my last piece of advice is like also have fun with it.
Yeah.
Like for how freaking fun with it. Just be you. Don't be afraid to get out your comfort zone. Take risks because risk is what
Mhm.
thrives in this business because a lot of people take risks.
Yeah,
Because if you don't take a risk, you're just going to be a one footnote, and
exactly. You're never gonna
and
know.
you're never going to know that you love something if you don't take a risk.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
100%.
but yeah,
100%.
but
You
yeah,
know,
that's
and
that's that's my advice.
that's what's up, man. And like I was saying before, man, I want to thank you for coming on. You're the first guest I've had since I created this concept of putting this podcast together for creators. You know what I'm saying? I know there's like a million out there, but my thing is it's not just about bringing up, promoting people's
Mhm,
projects, man. I want to promote, sorry, I want to promote the creator. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? I want to promote. I want to see what's in your head. I know. I see the comic books. I see the work.
mhm.
I want to see what's in your mind, man. And that's what I invest in. Cool. People got cool projects, but I invest in the creator. So I know, oh man, that
Exactly.
person put out that, it's gonna be a hit. You know what I'm
Heck
saying?
yeah.
You know
Heck
what I'm
yeah.
saying? But on that note, Kevin, I want to thank you for being here today. Like I
Hey,
said,
thanks for having me,
everybody,
man.
I'm gonna have links and all that, probably some pretty flashy things here with all the information. But check out the Kickstarter, man. Hallowfien #1. And when does it drop? When is it going live?
Friday the 13th, February
Friday
13th.
13th. Look at that. Next Friday. I already got that saved on my
Yes, sir.
Kickstarter. So the minute it go live, I'm gonna get that notification and you should too. Cause it's gonna drop before the Friday 13th. So I don't want to hear no shit from nobody. You know what I'm saying? But once again, Kevin, thank you for joining. And I do hope to continue this and I'll catch you on another episode one day. You know what
Yes,
I mean?
sir.
But on
Yes,
that
sir.
note, good looking, man. And I'll check you on the flip side, my guy.
You too, brother.
All right. Uh, all right, man. So, hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining today. Like I said, this is the first round of what I'm doing with this podcast, man. Just trying to make a little, little community where not just, showcasing, different projects from different creators, but also a place where people really new creators coming to you know hear some stories, look for some advice, and all everything we done went through to put out our own projects, whether it comics, books, or whatever it is, you know. And we'll see where it goes from there. And I also love networking with a bunch of you guys, man. I always find some of the best stories come from the indie scene, whether it's music, games, comics, but um, like I said, welcome. And, introduce yourselves. Let's get this going.
Uh, All right, I'll kick it off here. My name is Andrew Calvert. I'm the one of the writers on our book called Hiraeth.
Hmm.
We founded it with our company. Our LLC is called Boxfort Comics. It's at
Hmm.
boxfortcomics.com. That's where everybody can get our book. Um, we also have our Instagrams, which is Hiraeth _ comic there. That's a great place to reach us and check us out.
Okay.
But I've my buddy down here, Scott Prather, who's the artist. Him and I met in college, probably 15 and maybe almost 20 years ago. I don't know. It's been a while.
We're
And
it's we're getting close to what today's. Yeah, we're getting close to. We're 19, so we're almost at
19.
20. Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. And I seen some of the artwork on the website and what you've posted and great artwork. Oh my God.
Thank you
Like
very much.
like I was like, wow, okay. Really
It's
like
it's
what I'm
a
seeing there.
it's a big passion, and through this book, I actually developed a drawing style, which
Okay.
I haven't had before. I'm a tattooer by trade for the past 12 years,
Hmm.
and never really found like a style that I was
Okay.
always like oh, I'm gonna draw Batman like that guy, and then I would, but doing this has forced me to make decisions and to get a style, which I'm super excited to finally have something that I can like call my own. So thank you very
Nice.
much for digging it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, man. Thank you so much for blessing us with your talent. You know what I'm saying?
But
But
let's see. We came up with the idea for the story, back then. And then like most young kind of dreams and goals, we kind of got distracted by life and the
Oh yeah.
financials of the whole
Hmm.
operation and putting it out there. And then about 3 years ago, we linked back up and Prather approached me. He's like, "Well, you want to give this story another go?" And we kind of decided we were better off financially where we were. We were a bit more stable, had some
Okay.
disposable income to kind of put the book together.
Nice.
So
Hmm.
we
Mm.
started I started writing the story again, and he started doing some drawings. And then that's kind of where I brought my brother in because we didn't have a letterer, and he's got
Okay.
a more uh, what do you call it, like digital design. What's the word I'm looking for there?
Graphic design background.
Graphic design. Thank you. And he's got more of a graphic design background. And then when he came in, he brought a lot of fun new ideas,
Nice.
and then we kind of started co-writing the thing together.
And
That's what's
I
up.
brought a type A personality that can actually get shit done. These two fools will sit there and ramble about things for years. But yeah,
That's because we did.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's
But
what's up, man. That's what's up.
I come from an industry background. I'm a filmmaker by training, but
Okay.
did a lot of graphic design work through that, and so yeah, just a lot of experience kind of putting things out, and so I kind of handle a lot of the production side of things. Yeah.
Nice. That's what's up, man. It's good to see, a whole team together putting in the work like that and, just sharing this responsibilities. I usually come across, people that they'll hire an artist and, and it's just business, but it's cool. Y'all got like a little thing going on, especially y'all have known each other like, well, you and your brother know each other all your life, but but that's
Yeah.
what's up, man. What made y'all get into, you know, putting comics out, wanting to actually create this and do something with it.
I guess I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, Andrew gave a little bit of backstory because it is something that we've had for a long time that we wanted
Hmm.
to do. But the story originates back in college, and it centers around grief.
Yeah.
At that time, we wanted something that we like any kind of Don Bluth, All Dogs Go to Heaven vibe, where
Hmm.
it's a fun children's story, but it has depth to it. That's what we were all raised on, is to
Yeah.
have those kind of depth of kid stories. And so everything that we saw about grief was spiritual or religious, and we just wanted to kind of create something that is a talking point for parents about the physical manifestations of grief. And it's a double-edged sword because the best reviews we've gotten about our book are from people going through grief and how they have actually been able to use that. I think Andrew will test more because I think he's had more of that come to him. But that is what we kind of came back to as adults. Now that we had the ability to have our frontal lobes developed and actually kind of balance what is family life, professional life, and then this, which is basically a second career for all of us. I mean, we put in an insane amount of hours that we could not have done 10 years ago when
Hmm.
we're in our mid 20s, we're out
Yeah.
there just trying to live and have fun. Um, so it's kind of like that late blooming stage. And as we've gotten more involved with the comic industry and with the professionals, we have found that that is a common direction. Is that most
Hmm.
people that are getting into this are getting into this way later. They've already had a
Yeah.
career somewhere else,
Hmm.
and then they've used those talents and put it into the comic book format.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we were able to do is use my career as a jumping off point to network. So behind me, there's these artwork from comic artists that I've tattooed. And
Nice.
so there we have a one-on-one conversation. It's a captive audience, and
Hmm.
that is how we've been able to kind of get into this industry. Not fully yet, but get into it more than others, I think,
Yeah.
and that's been very helpful. And Andrew's been adamant on keeping that momentum for us, which is on me to get the fourth issue working on, which I have been. Just so you know, I have been working on it, and it's just something that, yeah, at its core, we wanted to create a story that has more depth than just entertainment value.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
even though there's lots of great indie production companies out there, who make great entertainment comics. But taking a note from like Tom King and James Tynion, like those are like super heavy stories
Oh yeah.
presented in a very fun format, which is comics.
Yeah, to me, I mean, it's cool to read something entertaining, but when you feel like you could resonate with that, whether it's a comic or a novel or even a song, it makes it that much better. You know, like you
Mm-hmm.
feel it, you know? You feel it, and that's what's up, man. Like how many, I know you just dropped the third one recently, right? Third issue just dropped. How many issues are you guys planning with this? Any spin-offs, anything like that?
It's planned to be 12 issues.
Okay.
That's kind of one of the core values of our company is that we don't want to make ongoing series for the sake of ongoing.
Yeah.
Like whenever we start a story, we know we have an ending in sight. I mean,
Hmm.
we want to tell concise, like powerful stories.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So yeah, it's planned to be 12. So that's what we may get one or two more there, who knows? But as
Don't
you
even.
know,
He's already trying to add more. He's already
Plus
trying to
or
add more.
minus, plus or minus one.
plus
Plus
or
or
minus.
minus.
Yeah.
There you go.
I have one more year left at the work ethic I'm doing right now, and after that I will be able to focus a lot more of my time and energy onto creating and finishing the story because I think we are all completionists.
Hmm.
Scott and Andrew, we like to see things through the end, and I think it took me a little bit longer in life to get to that point, but like we're going to see this to the end. It may take a little bit of time, but we're definitely are going to have that. We want to have that book with our names on. I mean, for if we only make 3 books with just for the 3 of us, that would satisfy I think a lot of our life's goals right there.
Yeah,
So it's a
that's a
bonus
lot
if we
more.
can get
Yeah.
this out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
lot more than some people do. You know, they won't even make one and they have all these ideas, you know, it's sometimes you just gotta get it done. Just start from somewhere and just go. You
It's
know?
hard work.
Oh
It's
yeah.
been challenging. Yeah, our first issue was a little bumpy. We had been, but it was one of those things where we decided, we didn't want to. We could keep spinning our wheels in that kind of
Hmm.
pre-production kind of life cycle, and so we finally just jumped in and we're like, you know what, we've got to build the plane mid-flight. We've got to just figure it out. So it took us, there was I think Scott or Prather there, he drew like the first 10 pages and
Okay.
then changed the style and scrapped it and then
Oh yeah.
he was doing everything he was doing physical drawings and then we realized how long and much more time that was going to take and now we've gone full digital.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
but a lot of lessons, but only lessons that you can learn by just doing it.
Yeah, I think putting out your first project is always it's always the pain in the ass because especially if you really know what you're doing, you're just like, I want to do this. Like it's just a learning curve. Like it took me like 5 years to put out my first issue, and that's because I
Oof.
got scammed out of some money. You know, it was just a headache. Styles changed, the story winds up changing, and then it became a mess. But once it got out, it's a wrap from there.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
that.
we went through I think three different colorists on the first issue. So
That was rough.
yeah,
That was
it took us a little bit longer too on that first one because
yeah.
we had a colorist and then they didn't quite deliver. So then
Hmm.
we found our second colorist and his style just wasn't the right fit.
Hmm.
And so finally we went through again one of these Facebook groups similar to where we found you, and it was we reached out and we found our colorist whose name is Michael Woods, who's based out of
Nice.
Houston, and he's just
He's killing it.
yeah, he killed it. It like his color style and Prather's artwork just really married up and got the vibe of the story that we were aiming for.
Oh yeah, like
Michael is the
like I've
best
seen it. Looks
partner.
great.
Michael's the best partner we have. I mean, like
Nice.
we all bring something to the table, but Michael is like the easiest guy to work with ever, and just a great partner, really responsive to feedback. He's not here, so I just want to give him a shout
Yeah,
out. He's
that's
he's
what's
been
up.
awesome.
That's what's up, man. Like I said, the artwork looks great, and I've worked with a bunch of artists I hire, especially on the Facebook groups, and a lot of them, it's hard to. They just want to work and get paid. They're not really. Some of them aren't really trying to put their heart into it and kind of match what you just want to color it or do it and get it done and work on the next one. So it's good that you found someone that you could work with, man. It's those are usually like a little gem in the rough right there, you know. And he's been from the first issue to recent, right?
Yeah.
Yep, even better, even better. That's what's
Yeah,
up.
I want to circle back to something you said before. You know, one of the things that I get caught up on, you know, when you talk about like spinning your wheels and getting hung up in the early stages of production, I'm like the worst at that particular thing. Like I have a lot of perfectionist tendencies.
Yeah.
And I have to always be reminded there's that old like maxim, you know, that like perfect is the enemy of done.
Hmm.
And sometimes you just got to move forward, you know.
Yeah.
And one of the things that these guys teach me over and over is that, you know, we've got to keep looking forward in the project. And so
Hmm.
every issue we think we're getting better, and that's what's great, you know. Like, yeah, we could sit there and like try to improve each, like take that one issue and just try to make it better and better and better, but it's never going to get out there.
Hmm.
So focusing that perfectionism on moving forward and
Yeah.
focusing on like just doing a better job the next time,
Hmm.
we've found that is our most sort of successful path, at just like actually kind of propelling us to the next issue and saying like, yeah, we didn't quite land this exactly the way that we wanted to, or we see our flaws in these issues, but you know what? Let's just keep going, keep moving, and hopefully at the end of it, you know, we want our last issue to be our best issue, you know?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Because sometimes I feel like, especially me, I got everything done. I'm like, I feel like there's something I could change, and then I just wind up sitting on the project. Like, no, you know what? I know what needs to be done. This is good. I'll make sure I apply that next time and just build off of that. Because sometimes we get stuck in our own head. 'Cause
Absolutely.
we feel like we want it to be perfect, but sometimes it's already perfect. We're just not allowing it to be perfect. But
Well,
that's what's up.
I think that's what this team and has really succeeded on is when we brought Scott on as the letterer and then graphic artist and
Hmm.
then co-writer he and then website designer. Scott really does he covers so much of the bases that Andrew and I would not even be able to get close to,
Yeah.
because we are much more on the creative side of things,
Hmm.
and so. The balance of the team, I think, is the strength that we get to really portray.
Oh
And
yeah.
that is something that we're on the Facebook groups that we're a part of, and when people are trying to find their creative team, um,
Hmm.
we do end up finding like very similar people, right? You know, that's just kind of how we naturally are drawn to. But having the personality types that the three of us have, it that I think that is what we've seen as success. And success is getting 3 issues out. Like that's our term of success right now. It's just getting 3 issues out. That is a huge part, I think, of any team because you need to have that. Even if you're just like a solo graphic artist, and you are doing everything by yourself, there will be a time where you will have to approach an editor.
Yeah.
They'll have a fine. You have to approach an art director, and those are the
Hmm.
people that will tell you you have to change this. And boy, Scott tells me to change stuff, and I fight him, and then I do it because he is right at the end of the day. Because it's about the end product.
Hmm.
It's not about serving my ego, right? And that is something that gets lost on a lot of creative ventures is that the individual ego wants to outperform the end result.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
having Scott and Andrew there to balance me has been is how we've gotten this far.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And that's actually really great to hear. I could see, y'all flow together real easy. That's what's up. That's definitely what's up. I do everything myself. Well, I hire, artists and things like that, but it's a headache doing it all by yourself. It's a headache. It is a complete
I mean,
sometimes I just don't want to deal with it anymore. But I know I
try,
need to and I want to. But it's just, oh man, having to carry that weight with you the whole way. It could be
Mm-hmm.
a pain in the ass.
Well, that's more than a full-time job.
Oh yeah,
That's
absolutely.
working and having a family and having a life and then spending the 16 hours a day,
Absolutely.
on
Absolutely.
that.
Hmm.
I mean,
So
props to you,
circling
man.
back,
I couldn't. No one here could do that. I mean, I think that not at this stage. I mean, maybe we'll develop those skills, but these guys are out there networking and talking to people. You couldn't pay me to talk to people. People don't like talking to me. I'm too aggressive and too angry. Like when I talk to people in person. But these guys are charmers, and I think everybody play into their strengths. So like whether all the different skills we bring to the table. So the fact that you're doing it alone. That just speaks volumes about you, man.
Yeah, I'm trying. Like I've always been a hustler, and I'm always hustling. No matter what it is, everything in life is a hustle. Everything, especially this comic book business, not even just comic books. Being a creator is a hustle in itself. It's a hustle in itself. But going back to the story, you did touch a little bit on it, based on grief. Like, tell me a little more about the story because it definitely got my attention, and I can't wait to go pick my copy up. So yeah, just fill me in on that a little bit.
All right. Yeah, so it's a story. It like Prather was saying, it's very much so inspired by like Don Bluth kind of old
Yeah.
80s cartoons and things we grew up with. Very, very kind of a nostalgic book
Yeah.
a lot of ways, but it's about a 7-year-old boy whose grandfather's recently passed,
Hmm.
and then he goes to the funeral. He doesn't really know how to process everything. His parents are kind of fumbling it a little, like the whole ordeal, and then at the wake he meets a monster and who takes him into a fantasy world, very kind of Alice in Wonderlandy. He kind
Okay.
of goes down a rabbit hole, and then trying to explore his emotions and gets into a lot of different adventures along the way, but he's trying to figure out where his grandfather is and what has happened to him, and that's kind of, I guess that's kind of the pitch there. Scott,
Okay.
you want to add more to it?
Yeah, I mean, my elevator pitch is, a boy, Allison, at the wake of his grandfather's wake, he kind of falls down the rabbit hole, Alice in Wonderland style, into a fantasy world where he meets the 5 personifications of grief. Issue 3 is where we finally meet our first personification, which is denial. So
Okay.
we're finally getting into the meat and potatoes.
Mm.
And then we have anger, we have bargaining, we have depression, and then we have acceptance. So those are the main guys, all while being chased by the fog of despair. And so
Wow.
that is by what we've kind of adopted into, without proper grief, that is the what you can fall into is a
Yeah.
fog of despair. So how do we take those archetypes and turn them into characters that are engaging and also not the very first thing that everyone thinks of, right?
Hmm.
And so denial was definitely a challenge to create. I remember Andrew has written this story, I think, 4 times in the past 15 years. And so we've always had like a general idea for some of the
Yeah.
characters. But once Scott came on and then they started writing, they really created some awesome characters and really hammered out what is the fog of despair? Who is that? What are these other characters we're going to add? What is the danger that we're just meeting
Yeah.
characters is not a danger. That's just going out and living life. So creating a danger that we're getting either chased or followed or something.
Yeah.
We're not quite there in the story yet, but something is slowly developing. And when we get our first graphic novel out after I finish issue 4, we get to have the first arc where the pacing of issue 1 as a standalone, and also our first comic, right, is like,
Yeah.
man, that's a bit slow, right? But when we have everything written together and we have that first arc done, it's paced very well. And that was something that Andrew has always been very adamant about, is getting this pacing right, because we've all read comics where in stories where things just happen very quickly, things happen without reason, without character development.
Yeah.
And so being a story guy like Andrew and Scott are, it was adamant that we do this way, even though like the first issue, like everyone told us that the first issue needs to have like a big shebang, it needs to have like this big thing that pulls you in, which I totally get. Tom King's Miracle Man is one of my favorites because of the very first page is just, it's a bam and it just draws you in.
Yeah.
And so ours kind of has that bit of a slow burn, but when in a context of stories and opposites, if you have a happy beginning, you have a sad end, or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So I think that was something that, right, Andrew? Is that something that I can speak for you on?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah, it
it there.
sounds amazing. Like I really can't wait to dig into these. Definitely putting in an order ASAP. But after any plans after any other stories you guys plan on putting out, or have you even thought about anything yet? Like what's next after, you put out your 12 issues and the story is kind of like done. I see Scott smiling. I feel like y'all got something
Yeah,
cooking
yeah,
in
I'll
the
let my
pot.
brother. Yeah, because we're actually
I should
working
get through
on
these
our.
9 issues.
Yeah.
I should get through
Yeah.
9 issues first.
I mean, we have a lot of plans long term. I
Yeah.
think we've got
Hmm.
we've got a lot of irons in the fire
Okay.
for each of us individually as well as collectively. I think the next project that is probably going to get our attention is a project that I've been working on for a few years. It's based on a screenplay that I wrote and
Okay.
actually got some accolades in the Austin Film Festival.
Nice.
So we're looking to adapt it into a comic. The title of it, this is the more adult part of the
Okay.
podcast. So the title of it is called Starfucker,
Okay.
um, and yeah, it's more of a noir mystery kind of set in contemporary Hollywood with some sci-fi elements.
Okay.
So that one, it's the story's written. We're actually Andrew and I are working at breaking it into individual issues at this point. We've got the first issue done, and I think Andrew's polishing up the second issue right now.
Nice.
With this one, Scott is Prather is chugging away on Hiraeth for us. But this is another Boxfort Comics publication, which Scott is a co-owner in. So this is still a project that we're all going to be
Okay.
involved in various ways. But we probably will be finding a different pencil / inker
Yeah.
for the interiors on this project, on this next book.
Mhm.
And so our hope is to have to get that at least ready to pitch, if not get a first issue out this year. So we'll see what
Nice.
kind of progress we make.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 10-cent elevator pitch on that one is it's about a woman that goes around sleeping. She sleeps with celebrities. A celebrity ends up dying in a hotel room next to her, and sort of again noir mystery, doppelgangers, and whether or not is who's coming after her is
Yeah.
always the
Nice.
question in these like noir things. So we don't like to be pinned down and to say that we're one thing. I think that, again, this is another piece of advice that you've got is, stick to your lane. We're doing a
Mhm.
children's book right here.
Yeah.
Let's do another children's book. Listen, we've got stories we want to tell, and they're going to range from incredibly adult
Mhm.
to incredibly childlike. And, we want to make those all ages books, and we
Yeah.
want to do the things that we want to do. And since at this point, no one's paying us to do it, we get to do whatever we want to do.
You gotta do
You know what
whatever
I
you
mean?
want. That's the best part of being independent. Ain't nobody gonna tell you nothing. You're gonna
That's
do
right.
what you want, and
Yeah,
you're gonna put
we've
out the
got
best stuff you can.
horror books that we want to pitch.
Nice.
We've got a lot of things coming down the pipe. So
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, as creators, what is your creative process when it comes to putting your projects together? Whether how's your creative process when you're writing or you're sketching out, or how you're gonna just visualize the whole project.
Yeah, I think the biggest barometer is just telling stories that you want to hear, and the stories that you want to read, the type of stories that you would want to read, right? Like
Mhm.
if it's, I don't think you can ever, you're never going to be able to please everyone.
No,
Um,
impossible.
yeah, and so by having strong opinions about stories, by knowing or artwork and knowing what you like,
Hmm.
and trying to make something that lives up to your own expectations, I think that's the probably the best. Like that's the only thing I know what to do.
Yeah.
Like just yeah, I mean, I've been reading comic books my whole life, and so
Hmm.
I've got a very specific taste, and it's going to be
Yeah.
kind of to that, and it's
Okay.
been influenced by my style. Our writing style has been influenced by a lot of the same things. With my
Hmm.
brother and I growing up together, so
Okay.
that's yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think
go ahead. Go ahead, Fraser.
to kind of go off of Andrew into the creative process. Um, we doing the 3 issues, we've done a different creative process each time.
Okay.
And so I think that is something, again, we're learning. And I think that if we're going to tell someone with no comic experience, even though we only have 3 comic book experiences, which is still very much a amateur range of things, is that like the first time Andrew wrote a script, and him and I was like, he wrote a script, long format. There was a lots of prompts per panel, and it was like, maybe I can kind of figure out, like, he'll give me a paragraph and then I'll just create a scene from that, right? And so very difficult, because as an artist, I don't have the time or the ability. You have to tell me directly what panel 1, he opens the door. Panel 2, he grabs a Coke. Panel 3, he sits down, right? So that was just all written all on one thing, right? And so, okay, well, so issue 2, he started giving more direction for me, which is what I needed, right? And then we switched to digital in issue 2. So therefore, I can move things around a lot easier. So if I finish a page and we need to change some things around, issue 1, they literally wrote around what I drew, right? So if there was an emotion space that didn't fit the script, they just edited the script so that it would fit the emotion space, right?
Okay.
So that's not really how comics. It's not really how comics would work, right? Maybe some things, but as like DC, Marvel, that's not how it would work. And so, okay, I need to get better at conveying the actual emotions. And then Scott comes in, I think, more so in issue 3, and so we're getting a lot more directed things, actions, right? Directed actions and settings. With this as an artist, issue 1, I did no thumbnailing. I just kind of drew each page as I drew it, right? Not a good way to go, because we don't understand the scope of the story. Issue 2, Andrew and I would sit down and kind of go over a little bit of the story and thumbnail a little bit of it, and get a little bit more of, here's the 29 pages that are super roughed out, right? But then I kind of would default, and I would go back to just taking those thumbnails, blow it up, and then just try to draw a finished page on top of that. Issue 3, we're finally doing a better step where Andrew and I sit down, we go through the script together, we act it out. Because he is conveying what's in his head. I'm conveying what's in my head in real time, not through email or like miscommunication can happen. So it's a real time aspect. And then through that, we have a much more collaborative effort, because I can tell him, hey, visually, this makes more sense if we do A, B, and C. You wrote it as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? So we're just going to condense it. We're going to get this is what the main point of it is out. And that's what we're going to do. So, and then we took those thumbnails, and I made a slightly better version of the thumbnail to where we could see a lot more of the action, the characters, what's going on. And then when those were approved by everybody, then we're blowing up. So we did issue 4 is when Scott comes on a lot more as a writer, and he's bringing his filmmaking experience and writing scripts into not just the directions of the panels, but here is the vibe of this page. Here's what we want to get out of the story from this page. Here's the actions. And doing that, like this page is quiet, or this page is softer, right? Now I already know the vibe of the whole page, instead of me trying to extract that from the script, because that takes a lot of mental power for me, right? And so I think as we have progressed for each one of these issues, we have totally thrown out what we didn't like and kept that 10% that did work, and then we've been adding that.
Nice.
And so that's why our 3rd issue we're real proud of, because I think we finally became a much more collaborative team. And then issue 4, although it has been some time since we've created the thumbnails, that is already becoming a much stronger book, because of the script that has been written, because of the collaborative nature that Andrew and I have done to go over the script, to then have Scott go over those thumbnails against the script to see if things need to be changed and worked on. And because he's our extensive note taker and our essential editor, right? Because we need to have that corralling. I need to have that corralling. Otherwise, we'll just kind of go off into too many directions. And so the collaborative process has been different each time, but it's been compounded. so that way it's getting better. And that kind of goes back to what Scott was saying about being perfectionist, is that if we just kept trying to get things perfect, we wouldn't have the compounding interest, right?
Yeah.
So we need to have that. And if I didn't have Scott or Andrew and I was doing this on my own, right, as a solo creator, I'd probably be just focusing on the drawing part, right? But I would do the same thing where I would finish issue 1 and then put it away and just start working on issue 2, because I know issue 2 is going to be better.
Yeah.
I know issue 3 is going to be better, right? And that's kind of where issue 12 will be like the accumulation of all of our knowledge. And I think once we hit that issue and we finish this book, the next thing we get to do really is then start shopping it. Because one thing that I've had to be reeled back on by both Andrew and Scott is I want to get out there. I want to put it in comic book stores right now. I want to be forced to, it's like, let's sell it right now, and
I'm the same way.
Right. That's been my mentality for a long time. And that would not work at all with our current careers and lifestyles. Right. Like, let's say we sell this to Image and they're like, okay, book 4 needs to come out in June. Well, that's not going to work at all, because I work full time. Scott works full time. Andrew works full time. Right. Like there's no way. So although it feels like we're doing a slow pace at times, we're still continually working towards that goal, and we will get that done. And when that issue 12 hits, we now have a fully packaged story, right? That Boxfort Comics has made. And we get to then shop that. We get to be leisurely and shop that around, or we just get to do everything that's a Kickstarter ourselves. And then maybe that blows up in some way. But then we have a finished portfolio piece that we have done to completion. And so when Scott has his sci-fi noir style book that he wants to do, well, if we've already created this, then there's a good chance we can sell this without even anything done to it. I mean, just some scripts, know.
Because you already got that, everyone's already loving what you did with the other project. They're like, okay, let me see what else they got.
There's already been a trust built. And so even if I'm not directly involved with that project or other projects, I think it'll be easier for all of us to get whatever work we want next once we finish this story. And so that's the biggest thing that I would probably want to say to any of your viewers is, like, get a finished story done, not just like one issue, but if the story is one issue, then by all means, right? But get a story done, and that will give you the confidence and the drive to get you to that next space. So, and like we all love comics, and I think we all see comics as a avenue for a type of career for all of us in the future. But we're not at the place to risk everything and jump all in yet. But there could be a chance that maybe in 4 or 5 years with the networking and the finished products that we make,
at that point.
That it could be, it could be that point. And me personally, I'm a tattooer by trade, and so I am kind of working very diligently right now, so that way next year I can pull back like quite a bit of my hours and focus a lot more on this, because if I don't, this 12 issue story is going to take 12 years. And I don't think the guys want to add another 12 years to our 17.
So when you for every issue you guys knock out, do you sell them independently, or do you go like the Kickstarter route?
So we did the Kickstarter route for the first 2. And I don't want to crap too much on Kickstarter because it's a great platform for a lot of different reasons. We really like, though, the way, like, so when we finished everything, they sent us like 5 different spreadsheets, and it was just kind of and then trying to get all the money and everything sorted out. It wasn't as ironed out of a platform as I kind of expected or would have liked. So, and then you're also kind of putting money back towards Kickstarter. You got to kick them the money and everything else. So, for a lot of those reasons, that's when we decided to create our own company, start our own website, and have been selling the books, issue 3, through the website itself.
Nice. Do you find that more successful doing it through the website or through Kickstarter?
Well, things are going well right now, so I think it's easier for the customers. I think it's easier
directly to you guys.
Yeah, everything's in-house for us, so it's and having our own website is to direct people towards. It's kind of feels little bit more professional than sending people to Kickstarter.
Yeah,
But
Mhm.
yeah. I've never done a Kickstarter. I've always knocked out a project and went straight to the customer. Like, this is what
yeah,
I got.
I mean, the
Here's
the,
my
because we
the
also
website.
promise the promise of Kickstarter is that they say that they're going to drum up business for you. But what we found was that almost everyone that bought our book through Kickstarter was someone that we sort of had reached out to, or
Hmm.
people that we were connected to, and had kind of done our own. We'd already done our own marketing, and so there wasn't like this. And I'm sure that there are cases where, if it rises to the front page of Kickstarter, that you're gonna just sell millions of books or whatever.
Yeah.
Not
Hmm.
I'm being hyperbolic, but yeah, I mean, you're gonna sell a ton more. But that just wasn't our experience. Now, I will say that initial inertia of Kickstarter, with like people that just want to fund you, your family and friends that want to back you and send you money. Kickstarter is a great platform for that, because they can funnel money your way, and so they're not just buying individual issues. And so, as a first issue launch, Kickstarter makes a lot of sense, and it's a great way to kind of get some infusion of capital and get going. But I think in the long term, we just felt like we weren't seeing, we're sending money back to them with issue two, and it just didn't feel like in the long term, this is what we wanted to be doing. We don't want to see Kickstarter as a distribution platform. We wanted to have
Yeah.
control of that ourselves.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think what
Yeah. No,
Scott says
because,
about the momentum, like everyone said the first one is the best, and we
yeah.
did have people just basically donate money, right?
Hmm.
They're like, because you can do that with Kickstarter, or at they like the expensive tiers we had, they just said, we want this, then don't worry about the sending us whatever we promised them. And so the second one was kind of a little bit like pulling teeth, where we had to try to get people to get in there, and we still got funded in a nice amount of time. But yeah, the rush of getting funded in the day on issue one versus the non-existent rush of issue two kind of feel a little bit of like a defeating purpose, and then knowing how much of that is getting back to the Kickstarter company, which is they got to make their money too. Um,
Yeah.
so again, by having Scott and Andrew make all the website stuff and take care of that, because they're all the money guys. I'm just the flippant artist.
But yeah, no, that's that one thing I've always been a little weary about Kickstarter. Like I said, I've always just went straight to the people. Like, this is what I got. Do you want it? Like,
Yeah.
this is a crazy story. Read it. But
Mhm.
I was always worried about putting it out and it not getting funded, because I feel like even though it's on Kickstarter, you still got to do the work. You gotta share it to your socials, get people involved, engage with people. So it's not, you still doing all the work, because if like you said, if it's not climbing to the top, then who's really gonna know it's on there? Like, I feel like you still gotta put in that same amount of work as if you were just selling it right from your website or from wherever.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and we went to Kickstarter every time with it already completed. So we had
Yeah,
the finished product. We were just using Kickstarter primarily as a ordering and distribution
yeah.
kind of
Hmm.
resource.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So at any time throughout this, since you started writing the stories back you said during college, and to recently, any time where you wanted to just quit, because I feel like there's times where we're just like, "Ay, what am I doing? Like, what am I getting myself into right now?" Was there ever a time you just wanted to just wipe your hands and be like, you know what? I gave it a good try. That's it.
Sure. I mean, essentially we did that for 15 years, We
Mhm.
just we couldn't we couldn't get it off the ground, and and there was an idea where this story could have we were talking about making it like just a children's book, like
Yeah.
just almost like a picture book with like written with prose on
Yeah,
one side, and then but
it
there's been
evolved.
yeah, it just evolved, and ultimately we landed back on a comic, which is what we wanted to do. And
Hmm.
then, then we went back and forth between, is it going to be a graphic novel? Is it going to be individual issues? How are we going to do this? But um
I think when we talked to Tony Harris on that note exactly, Andrew, um, Tony Harris was with the first artist I tattooed, and we asked him, should we do a graphic novel or should we do issues as a comic book? And we just did what he said. He's like, if you do a comic book, you're on the shelf for a month, and if you do 12 issues, you're on the shelf for an entire year, right?
Yeah.
Graphic novel debuts, you're going to be at the new releases, and then you're put with all the other graphic novels. That just becomes a giant blurb. And
Yeah.
so, even though we're not sold in stores at all, if this ever does become things we sell, I think we're going to take that as the same thing. We're going to debut like maybe issue 1 and 2 as a combo, and then do the rest as like monthlies.
Yeah.
And I think that was a very helpful thing. So because you can lose drive if you are doing a 200-page book. If you're on page 40, it's even though you did 40 pages, it still feels like forever away. Whereas when we're doing issues that are like 24 pages, 29 pages, I can get to page 13. I can say we're halfway done, right? And then that helps like fuel the resource. And as an artist, I do have like an ebb and flow where I'll hyper focus, and we'll get. I think the record is last year I did 4 pages in 1 week while working full time, and I hope we could get to that again at least once this year. And so there are ebb and flows, as far as what is motivation, what is a schedule, what is going to be the best way to continue. And I think like also just natural human emotions will also play into that. I get tired, after I work 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
And on some weeks, I can still go home and work from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. on getting the comic done after a 10-day work day. And then some weeks I work like 5 hours, and there's like, I don't like yesterday, I just I could not get myself off the couch. And I think Andrew and I have discussed about that recently, because we are in issue 4, and it is something that I need to like get going on. I need to get going on it. Scott and Andrew will agree with me on that. And it's finding like a schedule is a big part of it, as far as, because I don't know if I would do it. What I do is called the lion's share, but drawing takes up a lot of time to do, especially if I work as an artist for a living already. So I'm working all day as an artist, and then I go home and I work as an artist again. So the hobby and passion has to come from an inherent drive to finish, and an inherent drive to have the schedule. So I think being goal oriented is something that all 3 of us share, and that's what you'll see in all creators, and that's what you won't see in people who want to do it. Right? We met a lot of people who want to get into comics and who are interested in doing it, but you have to see the goal and complete all the baby steps to make the goal happen. These are huge feats, and I think I've been telling people that making comics is by far the hardest thing I've ever done, even though I've been a tattooer for 12 years and done some pretty fun things with that. It takes so much more effort to make a comic. So I don't think we want to stop. I don't think any of us have had that feeling. I do know that we have lulls, and that we just, me personally, needs to get back into a schedule that I can get into going, so we can get 2 issues finished this year. That would, I would say that would be a huge leap for all of us if we can have 2 finished products by the end of December, and that kind of gives us the fuel to keep going even more and more so.
Yeah, it's just definitely hard, whether you're a one-man show or you got a whole team behind you. I feel like it's just, no matter how you cut the cake, it's putting these projects together takes a lot of energy, especially we got life, we got work, we got family, we got everything else we got to do in life, and we still try to knock it through and get our passion out there to everybody, because this is what we love, and we want to share that with the world, But yeah, man, before we wrap things up, man, like I said, one thing I want to focus on with this podcast, what I'm doing is I also want to help, those indie creators that are coming up and they're just trying to figure things out, sometimes hearing other people's stories gives them a little more of that push. Cause like I said, this does get hard, and there's been plenty of times where I wanted to quit, plenty of times. I swear to God, I must have quit like 5 times already. But I know I can't because this is my passion and people love it. But any advice you would give um to that person that's watching this video that's just looking for something.
I think the one of the big kind of things that kind of opened my eyes here was, well, Prather, we went out to we kept going to conventions, and the thing that kind of resonated with me, because we would approach different artists and
Yeah.
creators, ask for advice and just direction, and kind of trying to find opportunities there. Is like the worst thing that anybody can ever tell you is no. Is
Yeah.
just yeah, just keep. I mean, just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to talk with creators. And then it's and then the rest of it is just showing up, doing the work,
Hmm.
and creating,
Absolutely.
sticking to trying to stick to a schedule. Like
Hmm.
you're never gonna, you can't just sit around and wait for inspiration. It's about setting the time aside to work on things, and then and kind of go from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the not being afraid thing and putting yourself out there, that's probably been one of the biggest things for us. That's
Mhm.
how, I mean, we got Martin Simmons did a variant for our issue one,
Nice.
and
Nice.
all because, you know, Scott and I approached him and at a convention and just started talking
Yeah.
to him, and befriended him there, and he's been a great resource and a great person to talk to as well.
Nice. That's what's
So
up. And
I
like
mean,
you said earlier, like we can't. One thing we gotta also understand: we're not gonna please everybody. Not
yeah,
everyone is gonna like it. Not everyone is gonna agree with it. But to me personally, as long as it's here, that's all. That's enough for me.
I'm gonna let Scott do the final word here on Prather, give the final word on advice, but I think we should go rapid fire. I think we should each give a little bit of advice. So I think for me, if I had some rapid fire advice, our approach has been the don't quit your day job approach.
Yeah.
Because this is an expensive hobby. It's something you're gonna have to fund things when you get started. If you think that you're gonna be able to write a story or draw something and get somebody else to pay for it, that hasn't been our experience. So I look forward to hearing people that have that experience, and
Same.
maybe I could learn some
Same.
things from them. But that's not us. And so
Yeah.
for us, it's saying and setting aside some money that you're going to put towards this enterprise,
Hmm.
and say, yeah, we're gonna pay for a colorist, or we're gonna pay for
Yeah.
what going to be in terms of some actual practical tactical advice when you're working with folks. I would say, this what Scott said. Some of our secret sauce in our process. Getting Scott and Andrew together regularly to hash out and kind of act out when you're at that ideation stage of trying to flesh out what the panels are going to look like. That's one major breakthrough that we've gotten to, is kind of creating those roughs when in a session together. A second was what he described, which is the like sort of functions that we do, where in our script we try to capture and write about tone, and describe in a kind of page summary of what is this page about, what is the tone of this scene. As a
Hmm.
writer, giving that to an artist, that's been a big breakthrough for us, and I think that's really helped us. And third, I would say is, we have this luxury of I do the lettering on the back end. Andrew does the primary writing. I do the sort of secondary writing, and then when I'm lettering it, we write the whole thing again. And
Yeah.
so I think the secret sauce for us is rewriting the entire issue once you have all of the images on the page. You find a lot of breakthroughs in that moment where you're like, oh man, this is a great like little insight, or this
Yeah.
this doesn't quite match with what I was imagining in my head, but Scott Prather, the artist, found something better. And
Hmm.
if I change this dialogue a little bit, then it's going to make this whole scene work a lot better. So having that kind of flexibility where you are, this is the same thing is true in the filmmaking process. They talk about how you write the movie the first time when you write it, you write the movie a second time when you shoot it, and you write the movie third time when you edit it. I think the same thing is true. You write the script the first time, you write it again when you work it out with an artist, and you write it again when you letter it and you put the whole thing together. And if you can kind of embrace that and embrace that change, and kind of try to make it better at each stage of that, I think your book's going to be better than it was when you wrote it down the page the first time.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, definitely.
So,
Definitely.
that's not big advice. That's just very tactical advice.
Yeah,
Big
whatever
advice,
works.
big
It's clearly
advice
working for you guys.
Don't quit your day job and keep at it.
Oh yeah,
don't
this is
don't
very
quit the day job.
expensive. I've put in, and I'm sure you guys could vouch on that. I've put in thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, I've made a good return on it, but having to put up the thousands and thousands of dollars just to, get the product out, get the artists to do what they got to do, and then the printing, and then the variants and all this and that, it costs money. So unless you're rich and you sitting on something good, you gotta, you gotta work. You still gotta work your ass off.
That's right.
Oh yeah. I'll probably like the biggest thing for my advice is schedule. It's something that I'm my own boss, so I write my own schedule, and at times I can overwork myself at my job, and therefore it kind of diminishes my ability to get the comic working on. And so that is a current thing that I'm working on, is schedule versus like inspiration. Andrew mentioned that before, and we've talked about a lot in our group. And Chuck Close is an artist from the 70s who said a great thing, that he doesn't wait around for inspiration. He gets up and goes to work. So I've been finding that if I get up earlier now, I have more energy than I do at night. And so what worked before, it may not work today. Yeah. And sometimes your schedule does have to change to accommodate
Life
that.
happens.
Yeah. But 1 hour a day, you can do so much. That's 365 hours in a year. I think you'd be amazed at what you can do with an hour a day towards your passion project. Yeah. And seeing the returns and seeing us get better, that is also a fuel. Not as good as a schedule, but that is also, man, like, we are getting better. It's going to get better the next time around. So I would say from the artist standpoint, the one that takes a lot of the time is you need to put a schedule down for yourself. It doesn't be the same time, but an hour a day will get you farther than not.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I absolutely agree. And, I want to thank you guys for jumping on this podcast and giving me the opportunity to, sit down and talk with you guys. Like I said, this is, this idea just came to me last week. I mean, I got all the equipment, and I'm just like, you know what? Let me just shoot the shit with some fellow people just like me, and and who knows, maybe somebody trying to figure what they're trying to do is, it's gonna help them out. I love being a creator. I love even just talking with like-minded creators, man, and just building and vibing and networking off that. And you guys got an amazing project. You guys got a flow working, and I'm a little jealous. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, you guys really seem like, you definitely got that ball going, and I can't wait to see, the rest of it, especially, the next couple issues of the project you got going, and then your next one, man. Definitely gonna be on the lookout for that. And I will be posting the website. It's gonna be around here somewhere, make something pretty come up, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, man, thank you guys for joining me tonight, and I'll be posting this in a couple of days, and and we'll take it from there, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mouse.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, definitely. Have a good night. All right.
You take care.
You too. Bye. Thank you for joining us today. We got Lonnie, correct? I got it right?
Yeah.
Lonnie of Dark City Comics with us today. We're gonna talk about him as not only as a creator, but the projects he got going on. And let me tell you, he sent me his Kickstarter for Epic #1. This shit is fire. It caught my I'm not gonna lie. That photo right there, and you sent me the sample that you're putting out, it looks
Yeah,
fire. I ain't read it yet. It looks fire. You know what I'm saying?
appreciate it,
I
appreciate
definitely
it, man.
can't wait to dig into that.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I'm just pulling that up real quick. Just give me 1 second here. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Uh, Shoot, I've been in comics off and on maybe about 10, 15 years.
Hmm.
Prior to that, music. I write, uh, written for a movie that was out, couple, couple web series, stuff like that. But the movie actually was in theaters,
Okay.
called The Unhitched King. So you can check that out. I think it's probably on Amazon and Tubi and all that stuff right there. But we had a limited release, so that was pretty dope. But I've been writing. I was signed to a Warner subsidiary when I was younger, doing music. Used to do rap. Um, got into film and video with my business partner, and just always trying to create something. Man, I always had a creative thing, and I used to love comics when I was young, and I went through like a spell where I really wasn't motivated to do music. I really wasn't motivated to be bothered with nobody, honestly. And that comic bug bit me, man. I fell right back in love with it, and I kind of
I
been
feel
doing
you.
it ever since.
I feel you. I was the same way. I was into, I was doing music in my early 20s. Once I hit 30, I was like, you know what? I need I need to expand my creativity. And then that comic bug hit me too, and I'm like, you know what? I mean, it's been a minute since I dug back into comics. Let me get back into it, and then here we go.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny how your roots. You always go back into your roots. Like if you're going through like a creative spell or something,
Mhm.
it'd be something it pulls you right back. I was walking by Drawing the Comics, and shout out to them in downtown Glendale, Arizona, and they were just having like a sidewalk convention, just like a
Yeah.
small mini thing
Okay.
specifically to the store. And me and my lady at the time was walking by, and I walked in there, and it was just like, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh my God, I'm back. You know what I'm saying? So it's just how it be.
That's what's up. Yeah, yeah, definitely. But yeah, so when did you realize, you know what, I love comics. I like reading them. I want to make them.
You know what? This is probably maybe 2010, 2011. We came off a bad deal with Warner Brothers, me and my crew, and we kind of split up. And I was just sick of the whole music thing, but I still felt that niche to create. And then,
Yeah.
like,
Hmm.
we came back from drawing the comics, and I was on fire, and just ideas just start popping and jumping in my head. And I'm a milestones baby, so um, it just took me right back into that space. I just went right back into how it felt opening those books, and the story just started telling itself, and I just started taking notes and jotting everything down.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, like, what your first attempt at, actually putting together your first story, like, how was that like?
It was a mess. It was a glorious mess. It was fun, but it was messy because I'm out here in Arizona. I'm on an island. You know what I mean? And thank God for the Two Brandons podcast. Um, they had a podcast going, and they were just dropping game. And one day, Joe Illich from Milestone hopped on there and was dropping game. And then I was in Maryland for a while, and then I ended up going to E.P.I.C. So I had took all of that, and I sat into some rooms and talked to the folks, and I took what I remembered, and it was expensive, it was labor intensive, but when you start seeing your words turn into pictures and the
Mhm.
pages and they come to life, it made it
It's
all
a
worth
different feeling, yeah.
it. Yeah, it
Hmm.
made it all worth it, dude. It made it
Oh
all worth
yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think that's kind of the general theme when you're starting your first project. It's always like it's always a mess. Mine, oh my God, everything that could go wrong went wrong. You know what I'm saying?
it.
Everything that could go wrong went wrong. It literally took me a few years to put out my first issue from conception to print. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't. We don't know what we're doing. I feel like there's more resources now
Oh yeah,
for
yeah.
the independent creator to, you know, I'm not gonna say like a rule book because everyone is gonna have a different experience, but kind of like a general guide of to do's and what not to do's and what to look
And,
out
and,
for.
and right, and then you got to think about it. We didn't have any of the technology that back then that we had now. If
Oh
I
yeah.
could have sat on chat and was like, structure my company, how do I go about this?
Hmm.
Explain it to me like a 10-year-old. Are you serious? I would have been out of here. And then you got to think about it. We didn't have, I think Facebook was there, but you didn't have Twitter, you didn't have Snap, you didn't have IG, you didn't have fan base. YouTube really wasn't popping. You got to think about all the stuff that's
Yeah.
at your fingertips now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think
You
it's a
know what I
lot
mean?
easier now to be a creator than it was 15 years ago.
Uh, 5 years ago. But the trick is not to get swallowed up in all the chaos that's going on. Like it's a lot of noise, and you really got to have a lot more focus because it's a lot easy. Because it's a lot easier, you got to have because it's stuff coming and going all every
Hmm.
day. You pop open your phone and something flying at you, something running across the screen. So you really got to have focus. But if you got the right team, if you got the right team, you could get busy. I mean,
Oh
the
yeah.
sky's the limit. The sky is the limit.
Oh,
So I'm excited.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, like I remember, you know, even back in the day when I was doing music, my MySpace was like the only kind of place you could put your music up at. This is how long ago. And now, like you've got platforms where you don't even need a record label no more. I feel like the indie space is the new mainstream. Because now we don't need we don't need a record label. You don't really need to sell your projects to like Marvel or DC to get it out. We have the ability to do it all ourselves now. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
we're all connected now. You know what I mean? Like the entire planet.
yeah. And another thing I think is pretty dope is that when I was first getting into it, people thought I've had artists quit because a big name didn't want to work with them or didn't want. I've seen a guy who was phenomenal. I just saw him recently. It's good to see you back drawing, but he got rejected from a major publisher out here, and it broke his heart.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
it's good to see that there's so many different avenues.
Yeah.
There's no one path to success with this now, and so the gatekeeping isn't as tight as it was back then.
Oh yeah. No.
Like
Absolutely. 100% agree. Agree. Now we could reach the same people that they can. Sure, they got the numbers, they got the followers, and we only got like a small percent of that, but with it grows, you know what I'm saying? It grows with popularity. You could have 10 followers today and wake up with 10,000 tomorrow, you
dude,
know?
it'll happen. I've went to bed, some video 30, 40, next morning 1,000, 15,
Yeah.
1,200, 300, 400 in 5 minutes. I'm getting bling, bling, bling.
Yeah.
So it. I mean, you just got to get out here and really talk to
That's
people.
it.
You got to get out and share your story and be genuine because people want that connection. You know what I mean? So I think it's being yourself is more valuable now in the creative space than it ever was.
Yeah. That I agree 100% on that.
You know what
Like
I mean?
I feel like we're you can no longer be fake.
No,
Like, and
it's too
it's just easier to be your true self because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. We're putting our heart and soul into this. Why be something that you're not? You know?
and there's too many avenues for other folks to find out your truth.
Oh, absolutely,
There's too much
absolutely.
stuff going. So if you are fake, and the internet got some of the best investigators in the world. So I mean,
Hmm.
you owe it, but you owe it to yourself to be yourself. It's easier to be you,
Yeah,
So and and
exactly.
and, and if it shows up in your stories and people connect, it's easy. It's an easier transition all the way around.
No, absolutely. I agree 100%. So let's talk about your Kickstarter. Definitely want to dig into that. Epic #1. Like I said, you guys watching, I'm gonna show y'all a little picture once I cut all this up and make everything nice and fancy. It's the cover alone got me like, okay, I want to
Yeah,
read.
yeah,
I want to read
we,
this.
yeah,
So let's
we,
talk about that.
you know, what's funny? I had 4 issues before, and my partner I was working with at the time, we went to San Diego Comic Con. I want to say 2014 or 15. I can't remember what year it was. And we made a decent enough impression to walk out of there with distribution and invites to other panels, and then it just fell to the wayside. And then I had my son, and you know, babies do what
Yeah,
they're gonna do. So
life happens.
I've been dadding for the whole I've been dadding for the whole time. But every so often, I would get a spike in sales. I would get hit my account, it's $90, and then 250, then it's 3, then it's 40. You know, just random. I'm like, people are still looking, and every now
Yeah.
and then it would spike. I was like, I need to get back to this. And once everything got stabilized, last year, actually around last May or March, I said, man, let me go at this again. Let me see. And I just looked at the scope of comics, and I realized how much I missed it. I was like, man, this used to be fun. I mean, I used to love these guys. And, you know what I'm saying? Going through all this stuff. So I just ended up, I went in, I said, all right, if I relaunch this, I got to punch it up a little bit. I got to bring it up to speed. And so I just started working. I did a slight redesign just to freshen him up, to make the characters more. So I'm excited to look at him, and I'm excited to write
Yeah.
about him. And then I just started sharing different parts of the universe. I've done live action adaptations of certain characters, certain things. So I just started working those things. And since I've been working in movies and working on a web series, I started writing scripts. And so I said, all right, okay, my brain is going. It's time. It's time to put
Yeah.
it together. So I slowly but surely just put it together and got with some artists. I went through about 4 or 5 artists before I landed on the people I was comfortable with. And then from there, I just started pushing out content, just seeing people's appetite
Yeah.
for it. And I've been getting a decent response considering,
That's
you
what's up.
know, it's only been since May.
Yeah, that's great. That's definitely great. And you said you already had put out 4 issues and you just like kind of revamping and relaunching, right?
Yeah, but this time though, you know, first it was only about Epic. I mean, and a few other, but this time, in the time that I had since I've been writing other things, so it's going to be a fully expanded universe. And so
Okay.
now you'll get some Epic, you'll get a bunch of other characters, and then from different levels, we'll have the superhero, then you have the street level, then you have the more serious dramatic side. So it'll touch on a few things, so
Okay.
people will definitely get a full idea of what the whole universe will be like.
Nice, nice. So as far as Epic, how many how many more issues are you doing on that one?
Epic, I got 32 written, ready to go.
Oh,
There's
you've already written
32.
32 issues.
Yeah, and
All right.
I write weekly. So I'm writing Epic, Shadow Strike, and Lotto's. I'm revamping his trade paperback, and then I'm working on something completely different, called How You Destroyed, which is going to be crazy. And then I got the TV show that I'm going to do, comic issue, series issue, like that, called Catch 'em, and I'm six episodes in and 6 issues in. So like I said, the pen is working. The pen is penning.
Oh,
So
I could
from
tell.
there, it's just having time to get the stuff out and get it to people and make the adjustments based on whatever feedback that we
Oh
receive.
yeah, absolutely. So where did that original character come from? Like where did you come up with the idea for Epic?
Um, uh,
Or
I've
even just
been
your whole universe in total?
just I have been writing my whole life. Like, I mean, I wrote my first quote unquote song or rap when I was 6, 7.
Hmm.
But me and my best friend Fox, we used to draw little comic books, and so I had the idea, and it just grew from there. Like when I came, but when I went to drawing the comics and I was on fire, I sat down and I was like, what's going to be, like, what's going to make a difference. I was looking at the scope of comics and where everything was at that time. I was like, what can we do to fit in here?
Yeah.
What's dope? You know, and a lot of guys were doing the Egyptology twist. And I was like, man, I want to say it was, I wasn't a fan of their take on it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I like Stargate. I like the whole future part of it. So I said, let me see. I don't know nothing about Egypt, but I think this piece is cool. If we take this piece and pull this piece, you know, I didn't want my character to just be some, yeah, he black, but you don't always got to be from the ghetto. You don't always got to be. So I said, let's have a regular kid. Let's have a good student, a regular guy, you know, just landed in a situation that not only changes him, but changes the world immediately.
Nice.
And what can you do
when you're
a decent, you know, when you're a decent person and a good student, no real edge to you, you're just a regular middle of the road kid, and all this power is in your lap.
Yeah.
You know, now what? You know, so I just wanted it to be one of those things. So I wanted to write a dope superhero story that everybody could relate to, and that we could really rock with as a community. So that kind of was the goal.
Yeah, definitely. It's like I said, it from what I see looks dope, and from what I'm hearing, I'm definitely invested. I already hit that link to notify me once that Kickstarter goes live for sure.
Yeah, on the 18th. On the 18th, bro.
You hear that, right? The 18th. I'm gonna have the links and all that.
And
you know, on
Tuesdays.
That's what's up. That's what's up. But now I want to touch on you as a creator. Like, what is your creative process? Like, you know, when you're putting together these stories, like where is your headspace at?
So my style, I found out, because I didn't know what to call it. They call it a pantser. Like, you just fly by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
You just kind of, I have a general idea where I want to go and what I want to get, how I get there. And I've been taught and trained by directors to write a certain way, but I don't care. Like, I feel good writing how I write. And then when I'm done, I put it up against what I've learned. And so I make the adjustments. But when I'm just flowing, I'll just sit down and it'll just go. Yeah, I just let it go. And then when I feel like I've either written myself into a corner or I'm done, I'll go back into my checks and balances, you know, and just save the cat and the whole deal. But yeah, I won't call it freestyling, because I do have a general idea where I want to go.
Yeah.
I just start hearing voices and I start seeing scenarios, and it's just all in the air, and it just kind of start falling in my head the right way.
Yeah, I feel like I do the same thing. I got an idea, and if it hits me where I want to do something with it, I'll write until I stop writing, and then once I'm done, I'll take a step back and reread it, and you know, make some adjustments, because sometimes when I'm writing, I'm just writing some crazy shit. You know, like I remember my first comic, Chaos Theory, that I put out. The end result was so different from that first night where I sat there and I was just writing, and I still have that original file, and I'm just like, whoa, this would have never worked. Like,
yeah, I had a couple. Dude, I had a couple stories that I had to let go. They would have never saw the light of day. Just really, you know, when you're creating something in a new space, and by us having a music background, writing comes easy. Writing kind of pure from your heart kind of comes easy. And then when you start adding these scenarios, based on how creative you are, your brain will take you somewhere so wild. Like I had, I got some stuff I can't even use, and I keep it just as a reminder. Like, you really wrote this crazy thing, bro. You are crazy. This is not okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yep. That's like I would say, even when you read my first comic, the first panel, you know, it shows him writing in a book. And that is a concept I completely threw out of the comic, because I was like, that shit makes no sense. But I kept it there on purpose, because to me, I felt like that's where it started from. That crazy, wild idea.
Right.
Like, of course, it went through like 10 edits, but that right there is my little Easter egg of where the whole concept came from. You know?
Yeah. like I said, the process. Everybody's process is unique, but what I find with us guys and folks who used to do music, and like we will write something crazy and we have to reel ourselves back in.
Now, when you were first putting everything together, like, what was one of the biggest mistakes you made in the beginning when, as I mentioned, when you started to put the comic out?
Yeah, I think thinking that everybody is a fan of what you're trying to do and thinking that everybody is team you, like
Yeah.
it's a business. And when you're writing stuff with passion and it's art, so it's all you all in your feelings about it. I had to learn to separate business from what it is,
Mhm.
and I had a lot of artists run off with my money and turn crappy work in, and
Mhm.
and then they're going through their thing, so they're blowing deadlines. It's a mess, and I still go through it today. And I'm like, it's crazy to see that a lot of these folks still ain't got their shit together. But when you're creating from that basement, you got to deal with the folks in the basement. You, you know what I mean? And I
100%
didn't
agree.
know it was different levels. I had to pull from what was around me until I got up to the different levels and start pulling talent from the different levels. But you'll find that it's sharks and piranhas in this
Oh,
water.
absolutely.
It
Oh
is
man.
sharks and piranhas in this water. And this go round, I don't. I, once I found my team or the people I wanted to deal with, I just locked
Mhm.
in with them. Not a whole lot of noise. I'm just showing results.
Yep.
And you know what I mean? And that's
Mhm.
kind of, you just got to be results oriented. Going back, you knew, so it's green and everything is
Yeah.
so, but
Oh yeah.
reality
Yeah.
smacks you real quick.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like that's a common theme when a lot of people are trying to put out their first project, and not just with comic books, with anything, whether it's you putting out an album or you working on making a game or a book or something. I feel like there's so many sharks out there that are just trying to eat and they're just
Yeah,
taking advantage. Like I lost a ton of money making my first comic because I paid an artist pretty much half of the whole book up front,
yeah,
and it took, I want to say, a year to get like 2 pages. You know what I'm saying? And it was one of the worst experiences ever. But now I know, you know what I mean? Like as time went by, I was able to, like you said, develop a team, work with those that I know that, what, he's about his business. We're on the same page. I'm gonna keep working with that artist. I'm gonna keep working with that
bro,
letterer and that colorist.
bro. Listen to me. I could write a scary book, a horror story about the horror stories that I went through with artists, bro. Like it blows my mind. It's such a visual medium, and you see these guys, and they're good and they're talented in their own right, and it's just like bait. Like they draw the dope Spider-Mans and Hawks and Supermans and Batmans, and then when it comes to your character,
It don't look
some of them,
nothing
not
like
all
him.
of them, yeah, they shortchange you, but you gotta think about it. They've been drawing Superman since they've been 4 or 5. They've been drawing Hulk, and I had to get that out of my head. I used to take it personal, but I'm like, Epic is new to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Lotto is new to their hand. These
Hmm.
guys have been drawing Spider-Man webs and Wolverine claws. They can do it with
They,
their eyes closed.
yeah,
But it's still a level of professionalism that you got to
exactly.
come in here with. And a
Exactly.
lot of people, when you first get in, they'll see you coming. You green, you eager,
Hmm.
and and you're right. It's like that with every form of business. But the good thing is, I had some resources, and I mentored myself through some podcasts and some knowledge, and I was like, okay, it's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
this way. You don't
Hmm.
pay it all, you pay in this.
Hmm.
So once I got that together, a lot of stuff separated itself.
Yeah. Hmm. For real. And not to knock a lot of, the artists or whatever, a lot of them are about their business, but unfortunately you got those that they're good artists. I feel like some of them they just want to get paid and move on, get paid and move on, and they're not really some of them I feel like they're not really trying to bring your vision to where it needs to be. They just were worried about that next, how much, sending for that next page or for that
Right.
cover or whatever.
And it's probably, here's the funny thing, it's probably, and they can probably tell us some horror stories about writers that they've dealt with.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
I only know my side, and
Mhm.
and I can give you 20. I spent a lot of money into this,
Mhm.
and I ain't rich. I'm a working
Yeah.
regular guy, and I spent a lot of money into this, and I had to learn a lot of lessons in blood
Oh yeah.
about
Mhm.
doing business in this space. But I do it all over again for the knowledge, so that the next person asking me don't have to go through it. Like, I don't mind. I always share what I know,
Yeah.
because Joel is shared with the whole everybody. Brandon Easton, Brandon Tom, they share their knowledge. So who
Mhm.
are you? You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
don't gatekeep no knowledge. If I find something out and it's cool and it's here, this is what I did. So
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, not to knock anybody, because I'm pretty sure, like, you've got artists that work with a writer or creator, and they could tell you, like you said, their horror stories from this.
yeah.
Sometimes,
It happens on both sides.
oh yeah, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And taken with that, a lot of the walls you've hit making your projects. Was there any time when you felt where you wanted to just wipe your hands and just quit and just be like, you know what, this ain't for me. This is a headache. I don't think I want to deal with this mess.
The tough part about being a writer is, like, I'm a, when I say this all I know how to do, I'm not saying that to cheapen what I'm bringing, but, like, I'm not an artist.
Yeah.
I had to teach myself the letter, but this is I have the idea, I have the marketing, I have the vision,
Hmm.
but I can only do this part. With comics, you have to have an assembly line, and they have to all be on point. And so, I've had some shortcomings that made me second guess. Um, Only because I'm like, man, if I could draw, I would eliminate 80% of my headaches.
Oh yeah.
If I
Yes,
could
sir.
color, the other 20 is out of the way. Because
Hmm.
colorists are a lot more, far more easy and more reasonable to deal with. But it just having to put your baby in somebody else's hands and hoping that they love it like you do,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
and realizing they don't love your baby, they just want the check to come with holding your baby, and it's like, come on, bro, and that's fine. I'm okay with doing business, but then
Yeah.
do business, you know.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's the tough part from a writing standpoint or from a creative standpoint. If you don't like a lot of guys, I know some dope guys who write and draw, so that's half the battle,
Hmm.
But if all you can do is write, you're at the mercy of
Of the artist.
their integrity,
Yeah.
of their character and their integrity, because you doing what you saying you doing when you send the money. Now I need you to do what you say you're gonna do, and it don't happen like that all the time. It don't
Yeah.
happen like
No.
that all the time. And I stopped Epic at issue number 4. I was able to close the arc, but had my artist, the last artist, ran off my money, reconnected with him. It's been years. Something in bygones be bygone. Sent him another payment. He ran off. Hey, fool me twice, shame on me. But the thing is, I didn't let it discourage me because I knew what I had. I know
Mhm.
what I got, and the people respond every time they see it. So it'll be their loss when they see us, when
Exactly.
they see us getting busy and doing what we're supposed to do. So
Exactly.
I,
And now they're
you know,
gonna be
I, I
like, "Oh, can I get on? Can I, you know,
this
I'm sorry. I'll work on it for you."
I'm gonna tell you what they do, because they're doing it now. They're marketing old pages of my work that they drew for me,
Yeah.
and they don't tell you that they
They
don't
ain't
do no
finished the
more.
damn job.
Right? They don't tell you that here's some work that I flaked on, or here's some work that I half-assed. They said, well, here is something we did for Dark City Comics. And half of me like, oh yeah, well, what happened to the project? You
Yeah.
know, but I'm just like, you know what? I got way
Hmm.
more cooler shit to do than to go back and forth, with a bad business. I let them, but it's funny to see somebody take uh bad work and try to pawn it off as a good result. That's
Yeah,
funny.
like you could have the greatest pen. You could draw the dopest panels, make the flyest cover. You could be great, but if your work ethic ain't there, you might as well not be doing nothing.
Yeah, and this is where AI is coming in and really pissing the community off. But the God's honest truth is it's separating the hustlers from the bullshitters. Because you see a lot of in these groups, a lot of people, if you post AI work, you're a jerk, you're stealing, you robbing.
They're gonna lose their shit.
But the God's honest truth is, if you solid and you do good work, you'll always have work.
Yeah.
Because it's pros out here now that still do good work, and AI has been AI for years.
Yeah.
But you see a lazy person's excuse. They'll do the blame game with somebody who, because now you can't cheat me no more.
Yeah.
Because now I don't have to wait for you for a concept or a sketch, so you don't get to cheat me. You don't get to cheat these guys, and so now, you can get further along in your process before you actually need an artist. And so that's really separating the hustlers from the BSers.
Yeah, like even if you use it to kind of like storyboard your ideas to present to an artist, like, this is what I came up with, you know what I'm saying? And this is kind of the direction I'm headed in. I would like you to not match, but do something like this, clearly with your style.
Dude, I used to get milked from sketch concept to finished product.
Yeah.
I'm talking, they used to run me because I'm green and I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's a tool used to lighten the load and speed up the process. And I think what it's creating, same way the E.P.I.C created new producers.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Same way and people laugh at Auto-Tune. The same way Auto-Tune did what it did. You have to understand when something's coming. It's either get down or lay down, and then you have to figure out a way to make it work with who you are as a person and your brand. And there's a space for it, because whether you want to make a space for it or not, it's already too late. It's here. And so I'm seeing a lot of non-artists take their ideas there first because of what they've experienced on the other side.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to watch. I have traditional artists, but I do like to put my characters in the flow in Gemini that make a move and talk. I think that's dope. Who would want to do that? That's pretty cool. So
especially it's cost effective, because if you try to go and hire somebody to do that, they're gonna charge you an arm and a leg. And
it wouldn't even be on my mind because it's not fiscally available to me. It's not on my mind to make epic hands light up and the cannon forming. I don't know nobody that can do that right now. So it's cool to play with. And then when the time comes, I'm gonna sit down with a real animated team.
And
you know what I mean? Yeah, but right now I'm working. It's like I'm working out.
Yeah.
It's like a comic. I'm doing all these hole in the wall spots, these underground spots, and then when it's time to jump on the main stage, I'm gonna be ready.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of it is, and I feel both sides of the argument, but I think that a hustler's gonna hustle, and if you got it in you, you're gonna make the best out of the situation, and it's in everything. They got people, you got artists using AI to write.
Yeah. Exactly, because you got some great artists, but they can't write for shit, and that's all right. So they'll take the idea, and then it works both ways. Like
this thing is making whole scripts. It's writing whole TV shows. It's writing calendars. It's doing everything.
It's doing everything.
But it can't be you. So as long as you're you, and long as you're bringing who you are to the tool, you'll be fine. But
you can't be the tool. Yeah.
So I definitely get both sides of the argument. But what it's done is definitely helped the small guy get further along before he needs bad health.
Exactly. And as you mentioned earlier, starting off, we're all green. None of us really know what we're doing. And Google only going to tell us but so much. And I feel like now with like ChatGPT and things like that, it'll kind of give us a better pathway into what we need to do.
Bro, you can go into Chat or Manage or any one of these things, and you can literally say, hey, Chat, I want to start a comic book company. I want it similar to this, and this. I have no idea how to get it started. I need step one. Explain it to me like a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
And it'll go.
Give you step by step everything you need.
And this is knowledge that you couldn't get. You'll go to one of these comic groups and be like, hey, y'all, I just got into comics and I'm looking to launch my comic book. What do I need to do? And you'll get a whole bunch of snarky comments, a little sarcasm, bunch of bullshit. Or you can go, and not everybody can go to a convention and sit in a workshop.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because these cons cost. Not everybody can do that. But you can take an app on your phone and build out what you think. And then you make your adjustments from there. But now you have a guideline or a template where you would have had nothing.
Exactly. And it's
10
saving
years
you a
ago,
ton of time. Yeah. If I would have had this 10 years ago when I started, I would have saved a lot of time and money. And
it'd have been nuts. It would have been nuts, bro.
Exactly.
I would have had a checks and balances, and I would have been able to see not all of them. Some of the things was going to happen, but I would have been able to see some of the pitfalls and maybe save myself some of the heartache because such and such, this ain't how it's supposed to go. But but the new guys got it, so hopefully they take advantage of it, use it as a tool, and don't use it as a crutch because it's a definite.
Those are two different things.
Two totally different
things. Like me, I believe in using it as a tool to help you, not for it to be your end all be all. Because as a creator, that's not. I don't believe AI should be the end all be all. But to help you, to help you where you need to go, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it's for.
I mean, but here's the thing: people take advantage of all processes.
Oh, absolutely.
So you just gotta, I'm just saying, you gotta stay true to yourself. I'm not knocking what nobody is using to finish their book because I know what it takes to finish a book, and I know the stress related to it. I know the frustration. I know the heartache. I don't wish that on nobody. But like I was crushed when I thought I had somebody. And I was hurt. I ain't even gonna lie. I was like, "What are you doing? Like we're here, And then I had it happen again. I'm like, I was like, maybe it's me. Like maybe it's me, bro. Like I didn't know, but it ain't me, bro. Because I'm always trying to push forward. I'm always trying to bring the team. I don't mind leading. I don't mind following. I don't mind listening. I'm eager to learn and I'm easy to teach. And I try to be fairly even keeled. But it is what it is, you know what I mean? I'm just grateful to be in this space now and to be able to create now, to still get great responses now, still be able to reach out. Like I had a quick little thing with Joe this morning, and he's just awesome, bro. Like Joe Illich is amazing, bro. Like he is like the comic book Yoda, bro. Like that. If you see him talking, you listen.
No, absolutely. Hold on, looks like we froze a bit. Oh, there we go. Looks like we froze a bit. But I got you good now.
Yeah, man, it's some dope guys out here, wealth of knowledge that you can definitely.
And that's the point of me kind of trying to put this podcast together. It's not just another hey, let's show indie comic books. I kind of want to showcase the creator, show us what you got going on, what's cooking, but I also want this to kind of be a dig in the mind of a creator, you know what I'm saying? Like watch the processes, because none of this is easy. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have a lot of people like we did looking for some answers for questions that they may have. And I don't expect every question to be answered with these videos, but kind of hearing everyone's experiences, they're like, "Oh, I kind of got a general idea
Right.
of what I should expect going into this." And that's anything, create any project, whether, like I said, comic books, games, music. It's all this. Entertainment is entertainment. Entertainment is insane. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Everyone's always out for number one. But as far as marketing, I know you got the Kickstarter coming out. Um, is the Kickstarter your number one way to market your products, or do you also like do the direct to consumer, like buy it off my
Dude,
website or something like that? Like, where do you
this
find easiest?
this is my first Kickstarter.
Okay.
I have paid bills off of selling comics direct to consumer. I knew
Okay.
nothing about. I wasn't familiar with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But marketing wise, I just use all of my platforms and I talk to
Yeah.
people. I just get out and what's up? It's your boy Low. If I read a book, I talk about the book. I know people like the images from Epic and all the characters, so I try to. Monday I do something, Wednesday I do something, Tuesday I do something, But I just want to engage with my people. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, I can't tell you nothing. I'd rather show you. I'd rather you see me, see the
100%.
work. You know what I mean? And understand that I love this and what I'm putting into this so that I can enjoy it and you can enjoy it. And then I'm willing to hear your feedback to help make this whole thing better.
Yeah.
So marketing is always a two-way street. It's always, but I watch a lot of guys who do marketing, other things, and I
Hmm.
just try to see how I can make it work. And I watch guys who do great marketing, Impound, Concrete, they do great marketing. Dude in the Ripperverse, they do great marketing. Godhood, they do great marketing, bro. They do good marketing.
Hmm.
And then it's a bunch of other guys, Luminous, a bunch of companies out there who kill it, bro.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm watching all the time. I'm like, oh, that works for them. I don't know if it'll work for me, but if I do this, it may work.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
but
Yeah. You know, you could take their foundation and tweak it to what works for you, because not everybody's success story is gonna work for you. You know
no,
what I'm
no,
saying?
no. Everybody's
You
process
know?
is different, but I just think it's great to see all the different ways folks are going about getting people to tell a story about their book. Like, it's dope to see. You would see somebody do something you wouldn't even be thinking about.
Yeah.
Like Impound, they go to the cons and they'll do who you think will win, Superman or this person, this whole time. He got a whole line, but it ain't even about him. But it's about that dope experience he's having with his client. Not even the client, just a regular person who may turn into a supporter once they realize who he is.
Yeah.
Or
Absolutely.
you may have a creator that is a teacher, the teaching base, and it's always giving you game, and that may
Yeah.
work. Everybody has a way.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely, definitely. And what I'm saying, like, before we wrap things up, I mean, as I mentioned, this space is gonna be for the indie creators, whether you're experienced or you're real green. What advice would you have for someone just starting out, whether they want to put a project together and don't know anything, don't know where to start. They got the idea and they just, all right, what
I,
what what do I do first?
I would say make sure you love it. Like, make sure you love it, but like, make
Yeah,
sure, because it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna be
very.
fun, but you're gonna go through every emotional spectrum possible, creating. But and the only way to get through it is to love it, bro. Like, I
Yeah,
love what I'm doing,
yeah,
so I'll take my bumps and bruises. I'll take these lumps, but you gotta love it. You have to be honest about your budget. You
yep,
have to know what you can afford. You have to understand that the comics is the last part. I gotta People gotta want to know, you know, what is Marvel without Stan Lee?
exactly.
The OG he's all through it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I want to know you. I want to know your story. Yes, I like Spider-Man, but it was dope knowing that he was going to be doing a little quick scene somewhere. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So you got to love it. You got to be involved in it. You have to You have to have a budget. You have to have a plan.
Yeah.
And from there, you got to build a solid team because you cannot do it alone. I'm telling you from experience and tons and tens of thousands of dollars of money blown. You cannot do it alone. You know what I mean? Have a
Yeah.
plan, stick to the plan, have a budget, regardless of what the budget is.
Mm-hmm.
Have one in your mind and be honest with your budget. Be honest,
Yeah.
like, look, I only got this. And so from
'Cause this
there,
is expensive.
and have some relatable characters. Tell a story that people can resonate with. Even if you have an outlandish concept, have some human moments
Yeah.
that people can connect with your and you should be fine.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like you mentioned, this is fun. I love doing it. It is a massive headache. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It is a headache, but it is a the end result
yeah.
sometimes outweigh all the negativity. It's expensive. It's highly expensive, but if you stay true to yourself, as we've mentioned a few times, you should be good.
Yeah,
If this is what you want to do, and you put that, because you're not gonna make one comic book and everyone's gonna be like, oh my god, let's make a movie. Marvel wants it. This is gonna take years.
yeah, and then here's the
Years.
thing. Lightning may strike for you. You may get lucky and it
Oh
may
yeah,
happen, but it's very few and far in between. But the
very
grind
few.
is what makes it all worth it. Like getting out, like like going into Comic-Con and having people come up to you because of what your book did to them, or they asking you questions about characters you made up in your head, and they got their own little reasons why. I'm like, wow, like we had fans. Like I don't have fans. Epic had fans, and so it's like, oh wow, and I got people in my inbox, bro, this dope. Tell me he can do this, or she can do that, or why is he doing this? So it's cool to have people invested in what you're doing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it feel good, make it all worth it. To have somebody coming up to you, excited, holding your books, and wanting the signature, and wanting the picture. It's something that was living in your head and in your heart. I think that's dope. It makes
Yeah, no,
everything.
absolutely, absolutely, man. And once again, I want to thank you for coming on,
Hey, I
and
appreciate it, man.
even participating in this. Like I said, came up with this idea last week, and I'm just like, you know what? Let me give it a shot. Who knows? Like, I don't even care if, I mean, I would love, realistically, to get a lot of viewers, but just being able to talk to another creative mind for 30 minutes to an hour, to me is worth it in itself. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, I appreciate it.
getting to know that I'm not my experience. We all go through different shit, but there's a lot of it is really similar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the process. Yeah, the bumps and bruises look real similar, but I think what you're doing is dope. And I think that just having a platform for creators to come and talk, and you'll never know who's gonna see it, bro. You never
Yeah,
know who's gonna see it. Get it out, post it, chop it up, talk about it, share it. You never know who's gonna be sitting on the airplane and it come across
yeah,
their screen, who's gonna be at a game, or who's gonna just it could and it can help somebody. We
yeah.
might be helping,
Exactly.
So
And that's what I would like to do. Learn from it if you're just starting out, or you've already been in the game for a while, because everyone got different stories. But at the very least, you were able to get listen to a great conversation between two people or four people, whoever's on here, just
right.
their experiences, their projects, and what we got going on, and what's next, because that's always the big thing. Like, all right, this is done, and what's next? But once again, man, like I said, thanks for coming aboard. You know what I'm saying? Dark City
Appreciate you
Comics
having
all day. And like I said, and I'm gonna have all the information on the screen and in the comments and all that. Check out the artwork is fire. I'm good. The
Appreciate
artwork is
it.
really dope. I can't wait to dig in and actually, have it in my hands and read it. But once again, I salute you, my guy. Thank you for coming on board.
Appreciate, man.
And
Appreciate you having.
yeah, definitely. And once I have everything up and uploaded, I'll send you some links, and take it from there.
Okay, bet. Appreciate it, brother. Enjoy your evening, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you too. Good looking. And that's a wrap for today's episode. Like I said, you know, you could check out everybody's links that was on here today. I'll have them featured down here at the bottom somewhere. And also don't forget to check out villainarchives.com. Stay tuned. Tap into that. Got a bunch of projects coming out. Shit, matter of fact, I'm not even gonna put that out just yet. I'm gonna wait a little bit on that, but I've been putting out some teasers on that. But make sure you also follow, like, subscribe, all that, not just to myself, but to everybody who I have on this channel. Where everyone's out here doing their thing, just like you and me. And hopefully I see y'all on episode 2. But on that note, it's your boy Mal behind the panels, and I'm out. Bang bang.